Welcome, everybody, to At the Bar With podcast. I'm Brett, your host. As always, I'm here with my co-host, Stacy, and on the back screen and on the cameras, streaming in from Sacramento, California, is Patrick. And we have a very special guest today, Michael Juhl. He's kind of the Juhl of Northeast Minneapolis, if I may say.
And this is episode 10?
11.
11. Woo.
So Michael Juhl is kind of an infamous bartender in the Minneapolis area. Everyone knows him. He's kind of the cornerstone of bartending extraordinaire. So we have him on the show. It's a pleasure to have him. Say hello to everybody there, Mike.
Hello, everybody. How you doing out there?
All right. I want to give a couple shout outs. I was just on vacation with the missus in Alaska. So we met some really wonderful people on vacation. So we want to get a shout out to Jenna and the Pioneer Bar, also known as P. And
That's in Sitka.
Yep, Sitka, Alaska. And Rita, who's kind of a smart ass like Gene.
They got along really well, huh?
Oh, they got along really well. Yeah. It was kind of funny because she asked Jean what she wanted, and she goes, Sauvignon Blanc. She goes, okay, a white wine it is. And then she asked for something else, and Jean's like, well, she goes, well, hurry up. I'm not going to ask again. Great. But in Victoria, British Columbia, we stopped by the Bard and Banker public house. Incredible pub. Awesome. Service was outstanding. I want to give a shout out to the general manager, Connor. He was fantastic.
Thanks, Connor.
Thank you, Connor.
Hi,
Jenna. So we'll start out, being a bar and all. Now, Mike is not a drinker, but he brought in his own industrial bar.
Max Industrial
Bar beverage. And what is in this?
That is 10 milligrams of THC that is actually made for Max Industrial by Broken Clock, which is also in Northeast as well. Yes, I do not consume the alcohol anymore. You can ask many people from my past. It's probably for the best interest of
everybody in the world.
Yeah. Nothing against it. I just can't have it anymore.
Yeah. So some people learn about themselves a little bit later on in lives, and they realize that, oh God, that's the problem.
Yeah. Now, but I still bartend.
Right.
It doesn't interfere with. I bartend 3-4 times a month. That's it. Sundays during the day at Max Industrial, of course.
Yep.
Another shameless plug. But yeah, a lot of people that I've met sober or still that drink or drink too much. There's so many different levels of how people drink, and they ask about it, and I'm like, it doesn't bother me.
Right.
Sometimes it's a stark reminder of why I don't drink anymore.
Now this, for example, this is a seltzer, correct?
Correct.
And you got different flavors. So you sell this at Max Industrial?
We do. So Broken Clock makes these for us. There's a fruit punch flavor, which is the one in front of me, and then they also make an orange, which is hiding around here somewhere. But there's lots of other breweries and distilleries and cideries. Lots of people are getting on the THC train. It sells. It's a nice alternative for people that maybe don't either enjoy alcohol, could be allergic to it,
right?
Like myself, who don't drink anymore. Where you can still go out and be social.
Oh yeah,
and not feel like you're drinking a Diet Coke all the time, which there's nothing wrong with that either. But it's just nice to be able to sort of feel like you're still in that social setting.
Right.
So that's your drug of choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I could drink it, I would try it, but I can't.
Yes.
Someday you'll be able to.
Someday. So instead, I'm going to do what I normally do, and I'm going to do a poor man's black velvet.
Nice.
Of course, Juhl knows this one pretty well.
Yeah.
Since I worked at a couple different Irish bars, I kind of learned how to pour this without having to use the spoon.
So how long have you bartended?
Just about 30 years.
30 years, okay.
Yeah.
You said you only bartend once a month? Or
once a week.
Just
4 times
a week? Okay.
And sometimes I take a Sunday off because why not?
Why not?
So I kind of got out of the bar business back during COVID.
Okay.
I got sober during COVID, so that was November 23rd of 2020 is my sobriety date. So right around Thanksgiving, fall, COVID was in full swing then. Not a lot of options for work, and with just stopping drinking, I was like, this it's a good time to maybe back away for a little bit.
Sure.
So I actually most bartenders, that have done it for a long time, a lot of us like to talk. I think that's pretty well known. And, we're pretty decent salespeople. So I ended up at a company called Warner Stallion.
Okay.
Good local appliance company. They were great. Learned a lot of good stuff there. But then I was offered a position at a motorcycle shop. So Motor Primo and Indian Motorcycle of Lakeville for sales.
Uh-oh. Stacy.
I do like the bikes.
Yeah. Obviously,
So,
you saw the one that was parked out there.
yeah, I parked my Indian next to you. I was like, ooh, who's got a Scout? So yes, I actually ran the sales department for Indian.
Oh, nice.
Whatever that really entailed, not a lot. It was just a cool title.
Okay.
But it was great. And then recently I stumbled upon, there's a couple of pre-owned car dealerships over in Wisconsin. One's in Somerset, one's in River Falls, owned by the same couple of gentlemen. But I really wanted to learn the finance side of, processing loans and things like that.
Okay.
There's money to be made there,
Sure.
I go to work because I enjoy it, but also,
Yeah.
we're all there to make a living. So I left the bike shop, and now I do that. And another nice lure was I get to work Monday through Friday now.
Okay.
So no more Saturdays during the day. So it's a complete shift, from all those years of bartending, not only at night, but weekends off, except for now I work on Sundays. But
You feel like a normal person for once.
yeah, and my buddy Jimmy is one of the owners of Max Industrial down there in Northeast there, just across the street from Certix, and they needed somebody for football on Sundays. And we've been buddies a long time, so a few years back he asked me, hey, would you be interested in doing Sundays? He's like, I know you're not going to drink. I know you wouldn't steal from me, so would you maybe do it? And that's kind of how I landed there, and it's nice to keep one toe in the pool.
Absolutely.
I would miss, even though I'm social at work, I still get to talk to customers and stuff. It's not the same as bartending, I guess.
Well, that was kind of the weird thing because, from my bartending experience, your social network kind of revolves around the bartending because you're always working over the weekends and stuff like that. So my friends would come in and see me, and that's how I hung out with my friends as well as at work. And maybe I wasn't drinking, but had them and served them. And I was part of that hanging out with before they went out and did something else. So when I went into a different line of work, it was weird because my whole social construct just kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
It wasn't there anymore. So that was kind of hard to deal with.
It was interesting for me as well. Not only, nobody was really bartending during COVID because it wasn't deemed necessary.
Yeah.
Depends on who you ask. I'm pretty sure some people would deem alcohol very necessary. But yeah, just that lockdown and then not being behind a bar and then, getting away from, consuming alcohol as well I found it to be very different, especially working during the day. Like everything just shifted, and not in a bad way. It's about growing up, and not that there's anything immature or bad about drinking. I just had to do some different things with my life.
You have a different circadian rhythm too. I mean, you're all night, nights, coming home at 2, 3, 4 in the morning or whatever, and now it's like, you're done with work at a normal time. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, now I'm up at 6 when I was lucky if I'd be asleep by
6
a.m.
o'clock exactly.
Right.
Because you had to wind down.
Yep.
And people are like, don't you just, non-bartending friends that, grew up with like elementary school, high school, whatever it may be.
Extroverts need at least 2 hours to.
Yeah, and they're like, aren't you just beat after like 10 hours behind the bar? It's like, well, technically, yes, I am, but I had to deal with so much.
Well, it's like when you're winding down. I mean, when you're closing down the bar, you're like winding down, you're like, and then all of a sudden you have to throw it in gear, and I got to quickly clean up the bar, kick everybody out, and all of a sudden you're back into that action mode, and everything gets amped up, and now you're sitting there and counting your money going, now I'm wide awake again.
Yeah, and it turns out you're responsible for a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's not only yours, but your boss's.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can't really screw that up.
Right. So
And if you do it too many times, they ask you politely not to come back.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I remember my bartending days in downtown. I love downtown. I started out in the suburbs and did some suburb stuff. But when I started bartending downtown for Tony and Tina's wedding, when I did that, I was like hooked with, getting out of the suburbs. Now you started in the suburbs too, didn't you?
Yeah, good old Joe Sensors in Roseville, where a couple good friends of yours from back in the day, good old Mark Halleck and Chris Holmgren.
Yep.
So that was your start?
Yeah.
You were how old?
23,
23. Okay.
22, 23.
Is Chris
22.
the guy that I would know from Urban?
Yeah,
Days,
homie.
Chris?
He worked at the
Yeah.
Deuce.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, there's another bar that I worked at off and on, just filling in, but that's a whole another part of the podcast later.
Double deuce.
Oh my God.
But then,
Double deuce.
but yeah, I started in the suburbs as well, mid 90s.
Yep.
And then I ended up downtown in 98 at the original Kieran's Irish Pub
Right.
before they moved to Blocky and it became Kieran's Irish Sports Bar, which was just a travesty, but that's a different episode. But yeah, I was there and then I moved to Arizona briefly in 99 and it turns out I didn't like it. So I came back home and then I stayed downtown. So I ended up at the Pickle Parrot.
And if anybody remembers the Pickle Parrot, I
Yeah.
mean, that was
Right in the corner of Fourth and First.
Fourth and First,
Fifth.
or Fifth. Sorry, Fifth and
Fifth
First.
and First. Yep.
Kitty corner from the Loon.
Yeah.
Yep, and it was a great bar. I love that
That was a great spot.
Great food, great drink. It was just fun.
What happened to the Pickle Parrot? I mean, I know it closed down, but what was the reason?
From what I understand, they expanded a little too quick.
Mhm.
So they went out to like Eden Prairie. They opened one in Uptown where that rooftop bar was like 17 different bars in like 2 years. It was crazy.
Yep.
So the Hafis's bought they've turned it to Sneaky Pete's.
Right.
Yep. And so the Hafis.
Well, that was next door.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Sneaky's.
Rosenthal's was in between the Pickle Parrot, that furniture store, and then
Right.
Sneaky Pete's and Dream Girls was upstairs from Sneaky Pete's.
Okay.
Right.
But yeah, the Hafises own a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but they bought that corner spot, didn't they? Later on.
They may. I know they.
'Cause I know they bought the Gay 90s.
They
Yep,
bought
yep.
the Urban Wildlife Building too after
Yep.
that.
Yeah,
closed down.
I believe they did buy that whole entire block.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
They own
just-
multiple blocks, but yeah.
Yeah.
It was a fun place. I met a lot of good people there. I'm still in touch with a few, which kind of led me into Urban Wildlife, which is also where I met Patrick. Those were some times.
Do tell.
Urban Wildlife. Where was that again?
Fourth and First.
Fourth and First. Okay.
So right next to the what was it? Sobriety.
Okay.
And then across from Pizza Luce.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was there for quite a while, and then it just sort of fell into bad financial times, and then it closed, and there's not much you can do with the building because if I remember correctly, it's registered in the Historical Society, so you can't do any updates. So I think the Hafises are just waiting for it to fall.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, they've got some sports bar there now. I don't even know what it's called. It's changed probably 5 or 6 times.
At the Urban spot?
Not the Urban Wildlife, but the other spot, the Pickle.
Oh,
Parrot.
Pickle. Yeah, that was Drink at one point, and that was...
Oh, Drink. Yeah, I remember that place.
But
Crab
that,
Shack, wasn't it?
but like the Urban Wildlife. I mean, that building is.
I got
literal-
crabs in Alaska.
She did. Yeah, king crabs.
Yep.
But I remember coming to the bar for you to go, hey, go grab me something, throw me the keys, and I mean, it was like the walls were crumbling,
Oh, yeah, that place...
literally falling apart. I'm like, am I saved?
I believe
am I
it was
gonna-
the band Trapped, quality band.
Yeah.
That was playing in our music room, and the floor collapsed.
Oh,
Like it literally dropped down into where the boiler was, like the whole floor where the whole
Wow.
crowd was standing.
God.
Literally just went dunk.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
so-
smell arson.
No, I
Oh,
mean it was.
No, coming up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
oh, well,
Hey,
Prior to
that's
that, you'd
probably-
be standing at a large show and you could feel the floor
oh yeah,
just like,
Oh.
I'm about to give. And I'd be like, oh, shit, I'm going to go in the bar area.
yeah. I'm gonna go to where there is no sub basement.
I'm going to
Yeah.
stand in this doorway.
But the Urban Wildlife was probably like the iconic bar back in the early mid 2000s. I mean,
It ran hard the 80s and 90s,
Days,
and then there was a fire, so then there was no more food because there used to be a grill right directly behind the bar that like you could literally watch them, kind of
Right.
like Tugs and Prockna and stuff.
Right.
Back in like a lot of places.
the
had it
Gopher
back
Bar,
then.
yeah, the
Or like
same thing.
Matt's.
Yeah, yep,
Right.
exactly like that.
And then there was that fire, so the kitchen never got back up and running. So it was just a straight up drinking and whatever else establishment.
It was Party Central,
Yeah,
put it that way.
yeah. We'll just,
And it was also awesome because there was a strip club across the
I was
street
just
on the
gonna
other
say
side.
that.
And you got those floozies coming over during their break.
oh
or they
the
come over and
choice or
shots
the
quick.
not so choice.
Yeah, the choice.
They were
I remember those girls come
So
over.
it
and
wasn't
they'd
my
do a quick
choice.
3
not,
shots of
not even my
whatever,
choice.
so they could go
Boo.
back to.
Oh, so
really
What's
eating
what's that
themselves,
strip club next to O'Donovan's?
Oh, it's the Seville. That was
Seville.
much better.
Yeah.
Gene would come over, meet me if I got done with work, and we'd go over there, and to give us drinks and cigars, and we'd hang out in the
Ran by
patio.
Dino Perlman.
Yeah,
I remember him.
Dino's an awesome guy.
Yep, great guy. Is he still?
He's still around.
He's still around?
I'm
Okay.
not sure what he's doing now. Scott Schuler, he was also part owner. He's up in Lutzen now.
Oh.
Owns some property up
I
in
remember
Lutzen,
Schuler.
and he does Lute Song. So every year they get all these songwriters together, and they do like this 3-day camp kind of deal, and get together. And I guess it's really successful. So
I feel sorry for the kids these days, man. We had the greatest Minneapolis between the 80s, 90s, and 2000s.
Oh, it was great.
Oh,
we
it
had
was
so
awesome.
much fun.
Downtown.
it was funny because I would have to catch a bus to I wouldn't park downtown a lot of times because it cost too much or somebody break into the car, so I'd park like across the river and take the bus in, but wait for the bus, and I get off work from TGI Fridays, come down to the Urban Wildlife for a drink, and then go to the bus stop, and Jules behind the bar bartending, and it's like a ton of people. Get your ass back here. Next thing you know, I'm back there bartending.
There was a lot of people that worked but didn't work at the Urban. Like everybody kind of chipped in, but you're not doing anything.
It's kind of
been in
funny.
that cooler. I've been in a broom closet.
I bet you
I
have.
spent some time in the backstage area.
Yeah.
Well,
I
of course you have.
Jewel knows there was a few of us that were kind of given free run, for, like Dale from Steel, Dale from
It seems like
Give.
back then you could do that kind of stuff.
It was a lot.
There's a lot looser and
People were more
don't people get
relaxed.
stuck in the broom closet at O'Donovan's?
Oh God, yeah. They called it the bum room. You remember O'Donovan's?
Oh yeah.
Towards the back of the bathroom, if you go to the right,
Yeah.
you get stuck in this stairwell. Now, the door was black and the push bar was black, so everybody would push on the door and not on the push bar. The push bar would open the door and they get out there, so you get stuck in the room. And it's usually some, person that's drunk, and they go in there. And the next thing you know, when we're closing up, there's somebody passed out in this room because they couldn't open.
But that's not why Patrick got stuck in the broom closet.
We called it the
we
bum
know.
room because one day we had someone go back there and he couldn't get out, so we slept in the corner. And somebody looked at closing time, opened the door, but he was behind the door and they didn't see anybody, so they shut the door, and he was in there overnight. And someone called the cops because he's banging on the window and he's waving his hand like, "Save me, save me."
Now, one would think you could have at some point
So
painted the door handle, the push bar, I don't know, white, or put some reflective
Yeah.
tape on it, or.
but it was funny because then
I mean, it was funny. Don't get me wrong.
Tony Krumpetich had to show up. He opens the door. He goes, "I didn't know how to get out." He pushes it, and the door opens, and the bum goes, "Oh." He goes, "Are you shitting me?" And he's like, "Nope." And he's like, "Should have known that."
Well, you remember my good buddy. He was a good friend of all of ours. Double A. Aaron
Yeah.
Tinlin.
Yep.
So speaking of getting locked in weird rooms at bathrooms or in bars and whatnot, it just brought up a funny story. You mentioned that had to have been 2002 maybe. Working at the Parrot right before it closed, because if I remember right, it closed in like September, October of 2002.
Yep.
And it was summertime, and we were out boozing it up downtown. And Aaron was known to disappear. Like he would just, we called it pulling a Tinlin. He'd just jump in a cab and he's gone, and he'd lose a flip flop or a shoe somewhere. Not both, just one. But yeah, I talked to him the next morning. I'm like, what the fuck happened to you? Like, where did you go last night? Well, I went to take a shit at Clicks, and I passed out on the toilet, and they locked me in the bar, and I woke up at 4 a.m. and I didn't know what to do, so I was there for about an hour, and then I just figured, fuck it. I'm running out the back door, and the alarm was going off. He's like, and I just kept running. And needless to say, a few hours later, we were at Jimmy's Bar in Northeast Minneapolis at about 8:30 in the morning, because their bathroom was also broke at their house, so he had to go brush his teeth and all that good stuff there.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
since we're here, we should probably have a Budweiser, an apple corn, and play some golden tea. I mean, we're already up and moving. We're at the bar.
Might as well.
these are stories that are bringing me back to college, St. Cloud State.
And the fucked up thing is we were in our 30s.
30s.
Yeah. Badge of honor in there. Yeah. Well, let's see. If that was 2002, I would have been 29. So, close
It's
enough.
Close
though.
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people are still in college.
Oh God.
Yeah, Tommy, they're called doctors.
Yeah. Sure, yeah. So how did what happened with the urban wildlife? I know it kind of went defunct, but was that because of the building problems, or was it more because of?
It depends on who you ask, but I solely blame it on the last owner of the bar.
Mm-hmm.
He took a lot of Daddy's money. Except
one of those guys.
Except he didn't use Daddy's money to pay the bills. It was more to pay. What do we call them? Entertainers. Rhythmic entertainers.
Ladies of the night. So
shapely rhythmic entertainers.
Yeah, those lots of Peruvian marching powder
and lines and poles.
Lines and
it was
poles.
literally
poles and lines.
Okay, let's just say it was cocaine and strippers.
Strippers and cocaine.
Yeah, I mean,
I think there was a band named after that called Hookers and Blow.
Yeah.
Literally, they were. They played at Glicks.
Yeah, they were great.
Blow,
George Scott McKelvey was in that band.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, great band, great name, and then they got rid of it for some weird reason. But yes,
because
my personal feeling is that bar went under because of very, very, very poor financial planning.
It got pretty loose at the end with all sorts of things, and I'm not going to say, but you can imply, you can imagine a 30-year-old me, rock
owning a bar,
friends with everyone that works at that place, friends with every band that's going through that place, friends with nearly every stripper that went in that place. Like, I had some good times, and I'll just say, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that's why he had to move to Sacramento, as far away from Minnesota as he could.
I think you might have left some kids here.
But this might be
There's still one in the closet.
Yeah, Patrick, do not do ancestry.
Yeah, don't.
No, I'm not. My DNA is not going anywhere.
It already did.
It already did.
We would, at the end of the night, he'd go upstairs to count the cash. And he'd have his gun out, and he'd lay it right on the fucking table, count the cash. A few select of us got invited to go up there to continue to drink, because at that time, I think they still closed at 1 a.m, not 2. So we got to continue the party.
And then go up on the roof. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, the one owner that you're speaking of, the older of the two owners towards the end, after Mr. Mike left, we'll just call him Mike. The older of the two, I did not have the issue with, personally.
Okay, yeah.
It was the other one. But both of them, I think, were known to liberate the safe of some of its goods. Because I'd go count the money in the morning or afternoon when we opened, because we didn't open in the morning. But I'd count the money from the night before, and it's like, well, I know how much was in there when it closed. And I'm pretty good at counting money.
Yeah.
And because I'm kind of, some people call me particular, is a polite way of saying that I'm somewhat uptight about things. It's money. It's got to be right. Anyway, there would be less money.
Maybe it was the shakedown.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been. It could have been for protection, even though he kept a gun on his desk as he counted money. But,
Well, it's probably protection from the ladies of the night.
Yeah. That said person also pulled a gun on me while working one night.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah.
That ain't good. No.
No. Everything was fine afterward. Like, if you knew this person, like Patrick knows him pretty well as well, you can kind of, I mean, it's not funny, but looking back, I see the humor in it now. Even later that night, I was like, this just makes sense that he did that. Like, it would almost make less sense if he didn't pull a gun on you.
Oh, geez.
Wow. He would never use it. Like, he was a genuinely wonderfully nice human being. He was, to the core. He just had a switch where he went a little bonkers sometimes, and you're just like, nope.
Probably not the best person to have a gun.
No, but, let's just watch this unfold. And generally, he didn't have them loaded either. But whatever. At the time when you're not exactly what you would call soberish, and you're in your early 30s and, surrounded by all of these different vices and rock and roll and blah, 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 that was sort of just Tuesday.
that was Tuesday.
Yeah, it was just Tuesday. We called it Tuesday.
Wow.
What happens on the weekends? I can't legally talk about that.
Well, I remember going in that place on a Friday and getting home on a Sunday morning. So, I mean, that just kind of tells you what, those.
I remember getting there on a Friday and leaving there finally on a Sunday morning. Like, close it down, do it, take a whore's bath in the bathroom, and I got to get back at it again. Here we go. And then, close down Saturday night again. And then it's Sunday. It's like, well, I know I don't work tonight, so
might want to go home and feed the dog.
No, I didn't have the dog then.
Oh, okay.
So it was probably generally off to Spring Street for some breakfast, wash, rinse, and repeat, and then be good and passed out by about 3 in the afternoon.
So this is why all these bartenders and musicians don't drink. Now we're finally here. That's the reason why.
It is a big reason why. Because I mean,
we drank enough for 3 lifetimes.
Oh my God! I mean, I remember I would get off work, I would go see you for a drink, maybe 2.
Yeah,
and then go. No, seriously, it's like
that's where you were.
I would not that often, but I would get off if I got off early. I'd go and because part of the downtown thing is you got all these bartenders and servers paying our mortgage.
Right,
my mortgage is paid by them, so you got to reciprocate. You have to. You just can't keep taking their money and not show up and say, "Hey, it's good to see you. Here's some money. Thank you." So you have to. So I'd always go to the bars.
Good business.
It's good. It's good business practice, and you want to
spread the wealth.
Spread the wealth. Exactly. That's exactly what I mean. So,
or your
I would go in there.
Never mind.
I would go in there. I would sit down and have one, and all of a sudden there would be a shot, another drink, another shot, and a drink, and everybody knows that you just don't tally them up because that bartender's going to have his 1 or 2 and then go. So all of a sudden there's like 5 drinks in front of me. I'm like,
I came in here for 1
fudge, but I didn't say fudge.
Yeah.
I was like, oh crap.
And it's an insult to turn it down.
Well, and you have to, because if you don't, you got to have at least a sipper.
Yeah.
So I would then stumble out of there and,
come pick me up, please.
I would end up at home. A couple times it was bad. So after that, I quit.
Well, it was such a different time.
Yeah, you couldn't. Yeah. I couldn't go out and do that unless.
Well, having a young body helps too. I mean,
well, there was that, but there was no ride share back then.
Yep.
So everybody had their favorite cabbie that you didn't call the dispatch. You just called
the cabbie.
Yeah.
Like ours was Abdi from ABC. Like, yep, gotta call Abdi because he'll come get you right now. Also, back then.
No Uber.
There was
no Uber.
There was
cabs.
The amount of bars.
No cell phones either.
The amount of bars back then was a lot smaller, and they were well established. A lot of them have all closed down since then, but there was a bar and a liquor license on every corner in every suburb now.
Yeah.
Like back then, I'm going to toot my own horn here, and Brett's, and a lot of the people that we came up with in this industry, you had to be good at your job and know the right people to be able to bartend somewhere. Now you can walk in and go like, hey, I want a bartending job, and they're just desperate for bodies. You don't have to be good at it anymore. No. You don't even have to show up.
In fact, when I got that gig at O'Donovan's, and everybody was after that gig, and when I got it, people were like, holy shit. Well, and I was established, not quite like you, but I was established within Fridays, and then, Tony and Tina's wedding, The Refuge, just to name a few, but I got that gig, and, I got some pats on the back, and I'm glad it was you. They were glad that I got that job, because I'd been, kind of a working downtown guy for quite some time. So when I got that job, it was perfect timing, because that's when Fridays, when they closed Fridays downtown, they closed a lot of different places. And they were paying $30,000 a month for that location, and then they jacked it up to like $50,000, and they went,
in like 2002 money.
Yeah, and they're like, no. And Bellinote, the same thing happened there, where
they locked that.
Where Dave was like, Dave got out just in time, and then took over Norman's, which became 7, but he got out just in time, and I'm sure he knew, because that guy from what was it, Peterbilt?
Maybe
that was siphoning money out, and he was embezzling and stuff like that out of Bellinote. So he got arrested, but Dave got out just in time. But they changed that from like $30,000. It was that was the rough price, and I heard that they went from like $30,000 to like $80,000 a month. They went like that, and it fell apart.
Yeah, I remember when the new Kieran's opened there. I helped open that up because I've worked at a lot of bars. I've helped open up a lot, but I just like moving around. I like the chaos, I suppose. But anyway, there were still tickets hanging on the make line in the kitchen from Bellinote, and there were pans still on like the stovetop.
Yeah.
Like it was just like, nope, everybody out.
In the middle of the night.
Well, when the IRS comes in and shuts you down, they generally just say everybody out, and they put the big old chains on the door, and then you're gone.
But that's the whole thing. But downtown and the leasing arrangements downtown, I didn't know about.
Yeah,
what they do, and is when you shut down, the leasing arrangement means that anything and everything that is in that location, becomes the owner's property.
Yeah.
Oh, the TVs,
like
all the booze, everything, the chairs, the glasses, everything.
Like everybody just
property.
walked out. It was crazy.
So when Fridays was when they weren't going to renew the lease, everything was going to stay. Our general manager said to me, because we had that music room, came up to me and said, if the equipment walks out of here, I don't know anything about it. And he winked at me, and I went, "You're kidding, right?" And he goes, "I don't care what happens." So
either the bank's keeping it, or you're keeping it.
So the banks is keeping it, so they've told us to take whatever off of the walls. Any of the anything that you guys want, you better take it. And that's that.
Did you grab some glasses too?
Yeah, I grabbed some glasses, and then I grabbed some music equipment. But they told me either you take it or it stays. You choose. So I didn't take big equipment. Wow. I just took some of the stuff that that we used for doing shows there.
That big amplifier.
No, I wish. But I mean, that's what they did. People were taking artifacts off the walls, and some of the music equipment that would never, go into anybody's hands. The boom mics, the stands, the stuff like that. They said take that because,
Yeah, these mics are really nice.
Yeah,
I like them. Oh, they work out a lot.
Oh, but that's what they did though. I mean, they locked it up, and everything. Once they locked the doors, anything that was inside, was theirs, and that was kind of the deal. And that's why they said you better take something, otherwise it's gone. But
I wanted to ask Juhl something, but going back to the urban though.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying everyone that came in there did shenanigans and all that, but it was really well known for some famous folks came in that place. Like,
yes,
I remember I met a childhood hero of mine, and rest in peace, Jim Marshall. He just passed away, but he used to come in there, and
quite
I was
a
like,
bit. Yeah, he was there quite often.
You and Tony Oliveri had a good rapport with these folks, so I think they kind of came there for you guys too.
Yeah, Tony was great. I mean, everybody I worked with, but Tony was a wonderful. He's still a good dear friend of mine. Great bartender, great musician. Guy can play the drums, like
great
nobody's
guy.
business. Yeah, just all around good human being. But Tony and I had a lot of fun on our shifts, and like Tommy Stinson would come in all the time to see Tony, and a lot of people.
That's what I was gonna say.
Tony knew a lot of
guys
people.
from The Cure and Guns N' Roses hanging out with him at the fucking Urban Wildlife.
Yeah, like
holy.
There's
fuck.
Slash and Matt Sorum. There we go. Yeah. Oh, Velvet Revolver's in town, but what's his nuts? Scott can't stay.
Scott Weiland.
Yeah, Weiland. Like he's on the bus. They made him leave right away.
Oh yeah, I wonder why.
Yeah, he didn't fare well in Minnesota too. But anyway,
I remember you guys were.
Well, he died in Minnesota.
Close to Target Center.
Well, between Target Center and even like not Glam Slam. What did it become after that? I'm having a complete.
Target.
Where Glam Slam was.
The Quest?
Yes, thank you.
That was it.
There's a lot of shows over there, too.
Yeah.
And, our alleys were basically connected because if you left out of the backstage door at the Quest, the loading dock and everything, you filtered down that alley, Pizza Luce would be on your left, and then just directly to your left across the street's the Urban. So a lot of the, musicians and roadies and, everybody.
They sound check at 6. And then
all of a sudden the clouds parted, the suns are shining down on the Urban Wildlife.
Well,
you hear the
downtown,
angels.
Again, it was just a very different time. You were mentioning that we all walked around and saw each other. Well, we'd also go on breaks. It's 9:30, union break. Got to sneak off for a little bit. But you could wander around downtown back then, even at 3 a.m, going to see your friends that would let you in the back door of their bar, even though it's closed. But you could have $400 in cash in your pocket, walking through, the gross-smelling, dripping alley like it's a scene out of a movie.
Right.
But you never worried. Nobody.
I wouldn't do that now.
No, I don't do that at noon now.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Right.
But it was just very different. Downtown was much more safe back then. I used to live down there. I walked back and forth to work. I met a lot of great people. And then downtown just kind of, and a lot of it had to do with pricing and parking and crime. So people started to, venture out a little more. Uptown was always kind of a thing. And then Uptown kind of went through its. Like right now, it's
gone now.
Dead.
dead.
Well, and
in
what
Northeast
happened,
has now become the new uptown in a way. And like
Yeah.
working in Northeast, and I came even kind of late, in the early 2000s down out there, or just down the road, I suppose. But it was, it was a lot different back then too. Even 20 years ago, working at Stasui's before it became Stanley's, it was
Right.
It was a lot of fun, and everybody visited each other at the neighborhood bars. It was
right.
the crew from like Spring Street, or from Max, or from Jimmy's, or from Kostoff's, or from Northeast Pal. I could sit here and rattle off all
Right.
the bars in Northeast. We all know them.
Yeah.
But everybody just kind of did that, rotation.
Right.
And now and then everybody, and this has happened in the service industry forever. It's not like we came up with anything brilliant. But you'd mark a $20 bill and see how many different people got a hold
Right.
of it as a bartender. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I started off with
That's
that
cool.
23 weeks ago. Like, I just got tipped this back.
That's why somebody comes back, come walking from their bar into your bar, go, nope,
No.
No,
that's
no.
yours.
This
Yeah.
started.
And
Get
Juhl-
this out of here.
Yeah, Juhl, hit the nail on the hammer, or the hammer on the nail, whatever. But I
Had to be
used
your
live-
bowl.
I used to live downtown from 99 to 2007-ish, and then I moved to Fridley. But it was affordable. I lived 2 blocks from the Metrodome. I was right by Elliott Park, and I used to go play basketball with, the hood, and, it was fine. But then, what I kind of like now is when Minneapolis was really cool and the place to be. Now it's Northeast. I noticed, like, my dad used to hang out at Laura's 1029 back in the day. And then he passed away, and it was just, where old alcoholics drank. And then Scott and Troy bought it and flipped it, and all of a sudden it was like the cool place to be, even though it was a cop bar.
Right.
But Northeast has just
The bras are
blossomed,
still
and
in
it's fucking cool as hell.
The bras
to see
are
that.
still on the ceiling.
Yep, still got the
They're-
bras and hanging, all
They're
that.
still hanging.
But
yeah, it used
just
to be.
Northeast in general is like awesome now.
Well,
It's
like you were saying, Patrick, when I started going into Northeast in the early 90s, just drinking, because I knew some people that lived over there, and we go party over there because, well, shit, we're just 21. But
Yeah.
it was literally just, for the most part, the old kind of neighborhood, not alcoholics necessarily, there was a lot of those too,
Yeah.
but it was all
Right.
neighborhood people. There wasn't
Yeah.
an influx of people like making it wasn't a destination back then. Like, you
Yeah.
didn't hear your friends,
and there
whether or
might
not
have
you
been
worked.
a warehouse that had workers getting
Right.
off at 7 a.m. going to some of these places. Too,
Right.
which
They
was
used to do
kinda
3-for-1s at certain places.
Right.
And,
yeah.
I love those
I,
days.
they did, yeah.
It's what you need from 8 to 11 a.m. It's 3-for-1s. Like, great. Lyle's used to do that. 2-for-1s.
I miss that
3-for-1s, like,
place,
for
Liquor
11
Lyle's.
hours
Yeah.
a day, and then they had the laundromat next door.
Yeah.
You should do laundry and drink all
Let's
day.
stand up, Franks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Brett.
My story is, remember when I worked at TGF Fridays, I started out as a waiter. And when I was waiting tables there, the group of the waiters and waitresses, they go, yeah, we're going to Stand Up Frank. Do you want to come? And I'm like, come on. I'm like, well, I wasn't making any money because I was training in. So my trainer, a guy named Steve, is like, well, come on, you got to come with. Let me buy you a couple drinks for the money that you made me today.
Yeah.
Okay, so I went. And they go, now, they don't pour them very stiff because, it's a downtown bar, Northeast bar. So they don't, we always tip. We tip really well. So, but the key word is to tell them to lean on it. And me being a dumbass, I'm like not buying it at first. He's like, no, seriously. They won't, the rest of us will be pissed off because we're going to get weak drinks for our money. You just tell him to lean on it. He's going to know it's from the Fridays crew because we pay his mortgage. I'm like, well, okay. So they send me up to the bar for a couple Windsor Cokes, Captain Coke and, Jack and Coke and stuff. So I walk up there, and it was when the big Samoan guy, I mean, I can't remember his name. It was like Terry or something, but his arms were as big as my whole middle part of my body. The guy was huge. And he's making drinks. He goes, well, what can I get for you? And I'm like, can I get a couple Windsor Cokes, Jack and Coke, Captain Coke? And look back over at him. They're like, he goes, and I go, can you lean on it? And he looks at me and goes, what? And I go, can you lean on it? So he puts all the glasses up. He's looking me straight in the eye, mind you. He doesn't look at anybody else, but he's staring at me, and he's pouring, and the alcohol is coming out of the glass now. and then he blaps the stuff right on the top.
Color.
And he puts the Coke Wonder Bar back, and he goes, "Is that strong enough for you there, tough guy?" And I just kind of went, and they're all laughing their asses off around the corner. I'm like, sorry. And I tipped them like big and brought their drinks over, and I'm like, you guys are fucking assholes.
Yeah, Frank's.
But it was kind of a rough and tumble bar, but it was there.
A lot of the recycling plants and just a lot of the blue collar third shifters would go in there in the morning, and they did. I don't know if it was Frank's. There was another one over there in Halleck's bar.
Yes.
They did 3-for-1s.
Yep.
Oh, so for all kids that didn't go to the bar back then, that's when they didn't have overhead cameras. They could watch you pour your drinks that they do nowadays, right?
Oh yeah, they didn't have POS. They had a cash register, and they even had a quote unquote computer. Oh yeah, we had the old NCR Bang and Changs. The mechanical ones that you didn't have to plug into anything. So if the power went out, people are like, "Woohoo! We don't have to pay our tab." I'm like, "No, this thing works no matter what."
You do those. You do those things. You go there 2 hours and have 6 beers, and then if you knew the bartender, and the bartender was actually kind of cool, it's like, hey, 10 minutes till 3-for-1's end. You want me to ring you up now?
Stack them?
Yeah, and then you throw them on ice, and then the ice cooler is just full of like 30 beers. Those are some good times. Wow.
Yeah, it's different
Surprised
these
we
days.
remember them.
It's different now. Now, when you were working over at Stasui's, it's now Stanley's. I mean, I remember that was kind of like your first like Northeast Minneapolis gig. I mean, that was like
that was my first real one. Yeah, I filled in at the 22nd Avenue station where homie worked. And
for anybody that remembered the 22nd station, it was like a bar on one side and a stripper area on the other side.
High-class strip. Very high class.
The gambling tri-wheel. You had pull tabs. They had a kitchen. It was a classy joint.
It was a classy joint, but the problem is you were paying the strippers to put their clothes back on.
Well, yeah. There's that. And I did also really, really enjoy the fact that the dancers had to go use the jukebox to play their own music to dance to.
Oh, my God.
Yes, no, they did.
They paraded through the bar over to the jukebox, and they would pay it. And then they would
They put that jukebox there for on purpose.
Well, yeah, it's just to
Yeah.
It's like being at
even the stripper that was in a wheelchair. She was like, "Would you go put in this song for me?" And I was like, "Okay."
But
cool.
it was a
she
cool
get off
little
the stage. Like
But it was a great little bar. The Deuce was. We'll get back to Stasui's here in a second. But the Deuce was great because like there was the guys who were there for the dancers, and there were the guys that were just there to drink, and then there was there's dancers over there. All right, whatever. But it was very separate. Like you could go there and have your full bar experience, and as long as you didn't crank your head real hard to the left or sit at the far end of the bar and look forward, you didn't have to.
Right.
It didn't have to be a dancer bar.
Yeah.
They had good food there too. I think.
They did. The gals and guys that worked in the kitchen, on purpose. And it was just a fun bar. They had the pull tabs, and everybody that worked there was really cool. They had the tri-wheel. That's how homie actually got his start there, if I remember right. He was doing the tri-wheel, and then ended up floating into bartending. But
what's a tri-wheel?
It's basically like if you took the Wheel of Fortune wheel and tilted it on its side.
Oh, gotcha.
Up on the wall, and then they have different numbers on it, and you pick numbers.
Oh yeah, it's got 3 levels.
Roulette.
Yeah,
that's why
it's roulette.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You don't see it a lot, but it was a lot of fun.
Even the 303, I played all the time.
Oh, yeah, it was a big deal. I mean, people liked it more than, say, like pull tabs.
Well, the nice thing is people, it was more of a social game. Like, it was camaraderie. Like, you're pulling for the guy. I may not know you from a can of paint, but you're standing over there and you bet $40 on red 3. And I'm like, yeah, let's get red 3 because I'm not betting on that.
Yeah.
But then you have pull tabs. It's like you got somebody who's 1,000 deep into a box.
And then somebody else goes up
and
there.
somebody walks in. They have no idea that they're playing in the box, or they do. There's lots of different scenarios, but like somebody could just walk in off the street and throw in $20 and hit $1,000 winner. Now this guy over here is already a grand deep, is getting super fucking pissed, and he's about to start a fight.
Yeah.
Where at the tri-wheel, it was just like, can I buy you a drink because this is fun? Or you should bet on Black 7. I think that's coming up next, or Blue 7, whatever it was. It was a far more social, interactive, fun game. But the Deuce in and of itself was. And they had a
Talk
great
about the
parking
meat
lot.
raffles.
The meat raffles
Meat
were
gambling.
great.
Yes.
I mean,
You get people that win steak, and they're like, someone else would win chicken. You're like, hey, want to trade? And they're like, or go halvesies, and it was awesome.
I like sausage.
Nowadays they give out gift cards. I get $20. I got three $20 gift cards from the meat raffle at 303.
Right. I mean, right down the
They don't
street.
show up with the meat anymore. That's still
Some
fun.
still do, but
Some do.
The best
There's
was,
some do, but they'll put it in in the cooler and
Yeah.
stuff or on ice. There's a bar down the street that used to be called the Dive.
Yeah, now it's the fifth hole. Or
Now
whatever.
it's the fifth hole, and it's not even the same. But when it was the Dive Bar, when it first came out, you had some of the old school bartenders that were working there and walking. Holy, I haven't seen you in years. What are you doing here? I lived like 3 blocks down the street in Northeast. But they always did a meat raffle, and we'd do it as like meat raffle bingo. So you got your bingo card, and you bingo, and you get the meat. And we got some good select cuts. I mean, we showed up, and everybody's like, $20-$30 in, and we walk in, here's $2, and we won, and everybody's just like, just glaring at you, mother fudgers. And just like, oh crap.
Patrick touched on it. They're very social too. It's like you can either exchange like, okay, I had steak last night and I just won steaks. You've got some pork chops or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, let's trade. Or another scenario that was always fun is when you would win and you're hanging out at these bars back then, or at least I was, with my buddies who either worked there or lived near there. So we'd win the meat, and this could be at like 5 PM. Well, let's stumble 3 doors down to your house.
Yeah.
Let's grill. Okay, well, we ate. Now let's go back to the bar.
Yeah.
And go right back to the same bar.
So, and that's kind of the Northeast, flair. I mean, that's the thing about Northeast Minneapolis, is that it is just so neighborhoodish in terms of that everybody, or everybody knows you. You're not just an acquaintance.
Right.
You're a friend to them. I mean, you might.
Is that a piece of meat in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
Yeah. I lived downtown, and then I eventually lived in Northeast from 2007 to 2011 when I left. But yeah, I'd go back there in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
Although I probably get on the outside border of Minneapolis, so technically I'm not part of that fucking
Friendly. Gotta move the friendly again.
friendly again.
Well,
yeah.
but
I heard
next
that's
to
not
me,
so friendly anymore.
With Northeast, a lot of the bars have changed. Statues became Stanleys, and none of this is necessarily bad. Things just change.
Yeah.
It is what it is. The Deuce is now high.
Yeah.
Gostoff's after, Matt from the Bulldog bought it, and then he passed away back in 2016. So
in the band that I played in with one of the members from American Head Charge, and another member from Blood of a Dying Covenant, both that were Rick Rubin, American Records guys that I played with. We played at Gastos in the basement.
Yeah.
A number of times. It was awesome. We had tons of fun. In fact, I think I drank them out of Black House a couple of times.
Mazelax is still there.
Well, I haven't. Yeah, Mazelax.
Yeah.
I miss the days when Mr.
Mazelax.
Maritko owned it, but that was...
Yeah, last time I was in Minneapolis, we went to Mazelax.
Yeah, we did.
But,
Yep. I met Patrick out at Mazelax. I love Mazelax.
Shit, I worked at
Food's
the...
awesome.
I also worked at the Otter for 8
you know,
years off and on.
I had the roast beef. I've been gone so long. I had the roast beef sandwich, and it was a Sunday at like 11, and I think it was the roast beef from the night before because it was not that good. But
not like it used to be.
Which is really weird, because I'm glad we're talking about like Mazelax and that. When we went in Sitka, Alaska, when we were there, we went into the Pioneer, but the locals call it the P Bar.
I wonder why.
And we walked in there, and it was like walking right into Northeast Minneapolis. I walked
floor sticky.
I mean, it was the perfect hole in the wall. It was awesome. I mean, we were walking out and looking at it like, do we dare go in here and walk in? It was like walking right into Northeast.
It wasn't really a hole in the wall. The
It
outside
wasn't.
wasn't all fancy, but when you went
walked
inside,
in,
it was
it was
cool.
It was kind of reminded me of Mazelax. It was like I felt like I am home.
Yeah.
I'm home. Sat down at the bar. Gal next to us, her name is Jenna. All of a sudden, she's, is somebody sitting here? Nope. You sit your ass down and, hey, Rita, and all of a sudden we became part of the local family within 5 minutes. And it was awesome. I was just like, I don't want to leave,
Right.
I don't. But that's how North Minneapolis is to me, is that you meet somebody for 5 minutes and next thing you know, they're inviting you over for a barbecue.
Yeah.
you're day drinking at 11 o'clock in the afternoon. You meet this guy. Well, I got to get going. We're gonna do a barbecue. Come on, settle up, and next thing you know, you're over at Bob's house barbecuing with them, and you're getting
Not Rita's house though.
No, not
You'd
Rita.
have to really earn her respect.
Yeah, Rita was a crass old gal, but she was awesome. But the point is, you're over at some dude's house, and all of a sudden, you're friends with them for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it is, and that's what I think Minneapolis is missing most, is that kind of neighborly kind of feeling that we've lost over time.
Everybody hates each other now.
Oh, everybody.
Well, I think that feeling's also been lost in general, but it's also in the service industry.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons. I mean,
The
like,
camaraderie is
right.
not what it used to be.
But
then again, I'm also in my
No,
50s now.
But
So-
nobody seems happy though. You go to the bars.
Oh, nobody cares about their job. They're
Yeah.
like, I don't.
You go to the
have
bars.
to be here on time. I
No.
don't even have to show up. I'll still have another job, and if I don't, I can go next door or next door to there or next door to there or next door to there. And
Nobody's
get another
happy.
Job.
right, and it's not iconic anymore, because getting a job in Northeast, like getting that job at O'Donnell's.
I remember that. You're not
O'Donovan's,
getting in there. You're not getting in there.
You are not getting in there. And
You have to be a
I
part of
went
the
and
crew.
I talked to Dermot. I buddied up to Dermot. I buddied up to the bar manager. I'm like, I'm your guy.
Brown nose.
I don't care. You
what
can
you have to
talk to
do.
people.
That's what you have to
They'll
do.
let you know who you can count on.
You had to
in
perform a
this
lot
industry.
of unsayable acts to get that gig. I remember you telling me that your jaw was sore and all that.
So that's the closet story? Is that what the closet was about?
Yeah, that's what the closet was for.
The casting.
That was that stuff
I
on
wanted
your
to ask
face.
you guys, Brett's stand-up Frank story. Was there a lot of hazing that you guys did?
There
With
was-
new bartenders back in the day or anything
I
like
didn't
that?
do a lot of it. I heard some stories here and there. There was a classic. We actually did this. This was only a few years ago. My bar manager, when we had a place down in Florida for a year, we took his keys and froze them in a cup of ice. There was the old pop the Miller Lite bottle open and shove it down their front pocket and let it just run down their leg. Run their clothes through the dishwasher, spit, and then put them.
How did you get their clothes off?
And then in the
had to wear a
freezer.
uniform. A lot of people
Oh.
would come in their street clothes, and they put on their uniform.
Oh,
'Cause
I
we were
see.
working at places like Sensors that had a uniform. And you run it through the dish pit, then you throw it in the freezer.
we actually did that to one of our. We call him a train. If you were training in, we call him a train. And that's how Train Jeff got his nickname.
Yes.
Train.
It's not pulling a train?
Yeah, no, you're the trainee, so we call you Train until
But it was just because he was slow. Anyway, sorry, Train.
But
Sort of.
you were called Train until you passed and were on your own. Then we'd call you by your name. You were Train. But we had a guy, and they put his pants through the dishwasher, put them in the freezer, and he came out.
The Hobart?
Yeah, and it was like probably 30 below that day. And he comes out and he walks up to the bar and he throws his pants on the bar, and they're like boom, boom, and they're just bouncing around. He goes, "Who did this?" And they go, "Did you find your shirt, Train?" And he just kind of went, oh, crap.
So he had to go home with his uniform.
Well,
on.
what they did was they would give you like $20 or something like that if you're training in. Well, they put the $20 in his shirt and then froze the shirt, so the money was froze to the shirt. So he had to wait for his shirt to thaw.
Before he
to
got
get
his money.
there was also, let's see here, especially with new barbacks, because barbacks actually used to be a thing in the bar industry, which was great.
Mhm.
And I started as a barback, and I know a lot of people that did. I will say this, a lot of the great bartenders that I learned from coming up were barbacks initially. You learn the bar, that bar better than that bartender a lot of times.
Oh,
but
for sure.
there was times where I know, you'd have them go look for the left-handed pour spouts. Or the steam catcher, or you had the hardwire or the hard plumbed coffee machine. I got to go empty the coffee machine out of water. No, just hold it. It's going to take a while. It holds quite a bit. There's actually a reservoir down below it. Or you had to get the bacon stretcher or the pea splitter for the split pea soup.
You know what I got? We needed to get the wall squeegee. Go down to the basement. I worked at Fridays. There's no basement. So I'm walking back there. I'm back
the
there
Alamo,
for like a
like
half
Pee-wee?
an hour looking for the wall squeegee. And
What's a wall squeegee for in a bar?
there's no
That's
such
the
thing as a wall
No, that's what they
squeegee.
do. That's
Well,
what
if
they
you
do to
ever
rookies,
visited
is
the
they-
urban, you might have needed it.
So, the manager comes
Especially the
up
bathroom.
and he's like, Shuck, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm trying to find the wall squeegee. I don't know where the basement is. He goes,
there's no basement.
And he didn't even say that. He looked, he goes, it's over in the corner. He walked away. And they all went an hour. They went up so about a half an hour later, I come up to the bar and I'm like, can somebody show me where the basement is so I can get the wall squeegee? And everybody starts, it's all the locals, all the regulars.
Yep.
Everybody's laughing their ass off. And I'm like, oh, crap.
I fell for it. I fell for it.
For like an hour. I was looking for the basement for the wall squeegee.
We used to do the same stuff in the military. The same exact thing with the privates. Yeah, they come in and, blinker fluid and all that stuff.
Yeah, and if they had a good, sense of humor about it when you fuck with the new barback or the new bartender or new server, whatever, usually you give them a little bit of ribbon for that whole kind of first shift or so, and then you're like, you know what, you took that pretty well.
Yep. That's how you get liked.
And then
that's
you start giving it back.
Right.
You start giving it back. It's like, you know what, we're probably going to get drunk later.
Yeah.
By later, I mean like 20 minutes.
But that was a rite of passage.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was. I mean, if you got offended by it, I hate you. It's like, well, all right.
No, bye. Yeah.
Bye.
Well, that's
you're not going to last.
There was not many, what do they call them these days? Safe spaces back then?
Yeah, right.
It's like, remember the movie Waiting? They had the penis joke.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
the Batwing? The old Batwing.
Yeah, the Batwing.
The Batwing.
Or whatever.
I'm telling you, I'm not even kidding. That was probably pulled out of a TGI Fridays store.
Oh,
literally. I mean,
that movie. Yeah, it I think that came out in like 05 or 03 or something, and it kind of hit.
It was early.
It hit the nail right on the hammer. I think is how Patrick says, or the handle right on the
hit the hammer right on the thumb.
Anyway,
Before, yeah.
but like obviously it's a movie, and some of those things you're like, yeah, that's a little extreme, but a lot of that shit, it was
It's
just
not. It's the truth.
yeah, it's like that happened last week, or shit, that gave me a good idea.
Well, that's why everybody likes those movies because they know the reality of it. If they're
well, and it's like when everybody was done with work, it's like, whose house are we going to?
Oh yeah, after bar.
Always.
So it was always, or
So that's where you were.
no, not at Fridays. I mean, a little bit different.
That's funny because every working in the industry, because I was bouncing back then, and that's all it was after bar parties.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like no one has after bar parties.
No,
It was a different time. I mean,
Yeah.
Now you have the millennials. When we had the millennials, now Gen Z, they just have no idea about the house party and how cool that was. It was like after work drinks at Bill's house, and the whole place would show up where you can kind of.
Yeah, that's because they heard it word of mouth instead of a cell phone.
Exactly.
right, and even the cell phones we had in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Somebody's not going to put it on social media, so
There wasn't
1,000 people.
You had to press a button 3 times to get one letter.
I had to press 7 4 times to make the letter S. It was terrible, but I got good at it.
Yeah.
But there wasn't all the texting. And texting back then, I remember my buddies would give me so much shit because I'm like, I'll just text these people. They're like, you know how much that costs? I'm like, I don't care. It's easier than actually having to talk to you. To
my
people
God, yes.
all night.
Remember, it used to be a dime a text or some fucking weird.
Well, and,
shit.
like
it was
Patrick,
bad.
You being on the radio and stuff, you talk for a living as well. And,
Yeah.
being in the bar, it's like, sometimes it's like, I don't want to fucking talk to anybody right now. I will text you. And now you can't get anybody to answer a fucking phone to save your life.
Call?
Get a
Do you actually call somebody?
This thing is
What?
actually a telephone, I
What?
No, get a Gen Z
I was
and
just
give them
thinking
a
about this
rotary
the other day.
phone.
I heard an urban,
give a
horse
Gen-
story that if you did this with one of these things, that you would get brain cancer.
Well, and I also
So you
heard
have to
another
do
weird
this.
story that you can actually talk into it and not hold it out here and yell into it in public like a complete asshole. But that's a whole different story.
Yeah. But I was
Like-
just thinking about this the other day. When's the last time, like outside of work, that you actually had a fucking voicemail? Like, I was just like, I haven't called my voicemail to get a voicemail in like years.
Yeah, unless it's work related.
I got to tell you, I did get a
Even work
voicemail
related.
like a couple days ago when we were on vacation, and it was asking about my car's warranty.
Warranty. Yeah.
Well, I got a text that said I didn't pay my
Taxes.
No, she got a
No.
text that she
The-
didn't
when
pay her, didn't pay her fee for using the fast lane in Minnesota.
Yeah.
I got that.
The easy lane. Yeah. So I
got that
started
twice
laughing.
on my work phone this last week. I got one for the U.S. Post Office, like, "Hey, click here, or we're going to get rid of your package. It's going to go away." And then the other one was the same thing,
and then,
like, "Hey,
and then
Bay Area
Patrick
Toll
looks
Authority."
down at his package and goes, "Oh, hell no!"
Oh,
No, package is still here.
Yeah, your package is still here, Patrick.
it's
got
in
your
one of those
shirt.
smaller
It's got your shirt in it.
manila
Yeah.
envelopes. Yeah.
That was my Halloween costume one year. I was generic guy, where I was dressed in black and white, and I had, instead of the Superman, it was a barcode, and then I put a nut cup in
Over his pants.
no underneath, and I was wearing like some tight swimmer. Like
I thought it was
trunks.
over.
And I would walk around going, "Have you seen my package?"
And then he'd hit it.
And then people are
Did
like,
you
"Oh,
shit
you're
my
an
pants?"
idiot."
I put it as a
I would put it in the
bartender
back and
one
go, "Oh, yeah, I don't have to go to the bathroom anymore."
Yeah.
So what's your favorite bar that you've worked at?
It's hard to say. I've worked at a lot, like I said. It's hard to say a favorite. I've gotten a lot of good things
Memories?
from multiple places, but probably my favorite ones are the ones we've kind of touched on. Sensors was great because that's when I started, and I met, two of my still very dear friends to this day, 30 years later. We talk almost every day.
Well, the thing is, when somebody mentions one of their names, it's goes to you or goes to the other.
Right.
Like Mark Halleck. Whenever I talk about Mark, it's always Juhl or Chris Holmgren. I mean, the three of you were synonymous.
Well, it's sort of like you, Gorman, Shoosh,
Yeah.
Hilmo,
Yep.
Okay, so name the top three.
Yeah, and I was just going to say too. I think it's there's a saying: you don't leave your job, you leave your manager. And I've always liked
Right,
that.
yeah.
So it kind of relates to
okay,
who
so
you're
the
working with at the places. That's
so
probably the most
what-
key thing,
what
right?
really kind of sucked was I would have stayed at the Pickle Parrot had they not closed.
Yep.
In my mind,
Mhm.
Urban closed. I left before that closed. I would have stayed at Stasui's, but Brad died. I would have stayed at the Otter. Maybe karaoke was hard to listen to, but I made good money.
But that was
and Bobby was great, but Bobby has since passed away
But
too.
people
and-
need to know the Otter did karaoke 7 days a week?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
every
Jesus.
single day.
9 p.m. to close, and my shifts when
Every day.
when I was in my full time there, it was great because I worked Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
9 p.m. to 2 a.m. So I worked 5 hours a night. And cleanup there was really easy because we had a guy who lived upstairs who was also the swamper. And so he would do the swamp and do the restocking and take out all the recycling because he wanted to do it in the morning so it didn't make all the noise for the neighbors and whatnot. So it was great. And I didn't even have to count anything. I pulled the money out of the drawer, put it into a bag, shoved it in the safe. Like I could walk out of there at 2:15 if I really wanted to.
Oh my God, that would have been great.
And I made stupid amounts of money.
Yep.
But I'm a person who loves music, but I can't sing it's
Here's Jonathan.
no, the
who's
thing is,
350 pounds, bald, and does a great Barry Manilow, and he's here every night.
and he does the same Barry Manilow song 4 times a night, 5 nights a
Now,
week.
when I worked at O'Donovan's, we had Sunday nights were karaoke night. And a guy named Dean Mazer did karaoke night, but Sunday nights were the big nights over at First Ave. So we had all sorts of rock stars coming in after the show, bringing all those people. We get busy as hell. I would make so much money on those karaoke nights because the rock stars would go up and sing music.
And we had very good regulars, and I met a lot of good people there too. There's nothing bad to say about the Otter.
Yep.
It's just sometimes you're like, if I hear Journey one more fucking time, I'm gonna murder.
I was
you.
gonna ask you that.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you my 3 favorite bars he worked at and just kind of touch on what made those bars spectacular. And one is going to be the first one, number 1. I'll go from 3, 2, 1. 3 is going to be Stasui's.
Stasui's was fun. I worked with a buddy named Brian who actually worked at Sensors with us.
Mm-hmm.
And then he
Where's
was at
Stasui's? It sounds familiar. I know I've been there, but I can't picture where.
Lowry and
what it is.
University.
It's now called Stanley.
Now called Stanley's. It's an old Polish place, home of the doozy sandwich.
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
So Brian worked there. Brian I worked with at Sensors, and he got me the job there back in 06, would have been. I was working at the Star Bar at the time, in their music room, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, So Brad and Brian and Jen was there, and like it was just a fun crew. And I liked the neighborhood people because a lot of our regulars, because I'd worked through happy hour, were the old neighborhood guys, and they were just had great stories, and they could tell you, the history of Northeast. Like they were second, third generation living in their parents' house who got that house from their grandparents' house. Like Northeast was still very family and generational back then, even though it was only 20 years ago.
That's
But
right.
Because you had the big expensive places.
But now
Germans and Polacks.
now they're all hacked into duplexes and stuff, and you got to pay $1,400 for an efficiency or $2,000 for a one bedroom
easily. Yeah.
So there was just the older history that I liked. I liked the neighborhoodiness. It wasn't what it's becoming, and there's nothing wrong with what it's becoming. It's just not for me. No,
and I remember like Brad, he would come into O'Donovan's. I mean, holy crap, that dude drank.
Oh yeah,
he would drink. You could have a guy that says, "I'll drink you under the table." Well, Brad would drink him under the table.
And then go drink somebody else.
Drink somebody else under the table and drink the other.
And
person.
Brad was an unfortunate soul where he just had an addiction problem, booze, drugs. Brad was a brilliant chef. So before La Belle Vie was La Belle Vie, there was a restaurant there called the 510.
Yep.
Brad was the owner and the executive chef. Him and his brother, and his brother has since passed away too. But yeah, Brad just I miss him to this day. But he drank himself to death, and I was with him 4 hours or so before he died.
Oh boy!
What?
We were gonna after bar, and we left, and he was gonna go to this party, and he's like, "Come on, let's go." It's like 4 a.m. We got done playing foosball and shit at Stasui's, and I'm like, "I'm gonna go do this other thing. Like, go have fun." And that was a lot. And I just remember him driving down Lowry, seeing the back of his head in this dude's Cadillac. I'm not gonna say the guy's name. He's since passed away too, but yeah, I just remember seeing Brad leave, and And it was the 3-year anniversary of my good buddy Double A passing away, like on the exact same day, but 3 years later, and they both drowned, which was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But other bars that I would, so that was 3.
So that was 3.
Yeah.
2 is Max Industrial.
Max, I've only technically worked at a little over 2 years, but I've been drinking there since they opened.
Right. But I mean, because I remember more of you and your name associated with Stasui's.
Yeah.
Max Industrial.
So Max was a place that was opened initially by 3 bartenders from Williams. Johnny C., a gentleman named Mike, and a gentleman named Jimmy. Johnny has since been bought out probably 15 years ago now. So Jimmy and Mike still own it. Jimmy worked at Sensors as well.
Yep.
Back in the late 90s. Just a very, very heavy industry bar. That people flock there from downtown, from Northeast, from uptown. One of their big things is you can get a full menu served 7 days a week till 2 a.m. So if you want a Philly cheesesteak at $150 after you get done closing your bar, you can get it.
Yep.
Those guys were in their late 20s and early 30s when they opened it back then, and we all were. So it's like we all kind of were part owners, even though obviously we paid them to be there.
Right.
Probably not as much as we needed to, but yeah, we spent a lot of time there. And you met a lot of other good industry people that were kind of in our age group that kind of came up together, and were seeing what was sort of happening to our industry and going. And I think that happens with every generation, though, where the older, bartenders and servers are like, these fucking kids.
Right.
But it's true this time. I'm not just saying, like, the work ethic is completely nil now.
Right.
Like, you mean I have to work 6 hours? 6 hours? That was the
I worked
first quarter of my double. Like, I'm going to work like 19 hours in a row here.
I work 10 hours a day, and that's my normal shift.
Right.
16 hours is the norm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Max is just one of those bars that, our kind of crew even adjacent, a couple 6 degrees of separation, but everybody knew everybody, and that's where everybody that was a hub.
And that's where your
and
name
it's lost it a little bit now. It's not,
now,
but the industry has changed.
You also worked out with the Corner Bar.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to make a slash there because the Corner Bar was one of the big ones where I remember you working there quite a bit, and I stopped in a couple times in uniform, I think, to say hi.
We had a lot of your brothers and sisters that would come in for lunch and dinner and shit.
But that was a great bar, though, too.
Yeah. Bill still owns it. Bill Murray. Met him at the Pickle Parrot.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then we worked together at the Urban Wildlife, too. No, Bill's a great human. He's so great. I think he fired me twice at least and hired me back. But no, he's just a dear human being, like a wonderful man.
So he actually lets the Viking World Order tailgate take over his parking lot.
Yeah.
And just an awesome guy like that. And I used to, like I said, I used to live downtown, and the radio station was in Southeast. And there was a period in my life where I made a bad decision and I couldn't drive a car for about a year. So
I know about those.
Bicycle
3 times.
What? Oh, you had no, not me, just once. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm saying me.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah. Badge of honor.
0.10 when it happened. It was like, God damn it. And it was like when the law was still 0.10. I was literally 0.10. And I was like, God damn it. But anyway, I was biking or busing, and I would always stop in at the corner bar, and he was always just super welcoming. And
Bill's a great human. He genuinely cares about people, the community. Big sports fan. Again, I've just been lucky to know him. Shit, I guess I've known him for 25 years now, too.
Yeah, and if he watches this, thank you for helping out the Vikings fan group, because they, there's no tailgating like there was back in the day. There used to be open parking lots next to the Metrodome, and now that's all condos and shit. There's nowhere for people to go and have a good time. So the corner bar having that huge lot and just make it available to the Viking World Order is awesome.
I went to a tailgate with you, Patrick. You remember?
I do.
Okay.
Didn't we do
shots of vodka through that?
I mean, yeah.
We did shots of vodka through that ice sculpture.
The ice sculpture.
One of those. And then there was the ski that had all the shots.
Oh, the shot ski?
Shot ski, yeah. And you guys did like peppermint schnapps, but it wasn't peppermint schnapps. It was Rumpelmints.
Which is why, getting back to those things where you're not allowed to drive for a while. Good old Uncle Minty's knockout potion got me 3 of those over my career.
God, wow.
By the way, do not, with all the rideshare shit and everything, to anybody listening out there, young, old, whatever, don't fucking drink and drive. Take it from me, somebody who's been through the ringer, not once, not twice, but thrice. It's not the legal, that all sucks too in the money shit, but the fact that I could have hurt somebody, blah, 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 I'm not going to sit here and get preachy, but just don't fucking drink and drive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Be responsible. You know when your car is coming with an Uber nowadays. Like, people aren't going to steal your cab.
Oh yeah, there's no reason to drink and drive now. It's like
absolutely
especially
still
these
go
rich
out,
athletes.
still go out and have fun.
Are you stupid?
Tip your bartender, but just be smart about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
If 20 years ago, 30 years ago, if I could have pushed a button on my phone and had someone get me home, it would have been like, fuck, duh.
Yeah, my first 2 DWIs were before the rideshare stuff, and I'm not saying that's an excuse. I still made really poor choices, but yeah.
Well, I had 3 like huge, like, you remember I think they had like 36-ounce mugs on ice, and I had I had 3 of them in 2 hours, and I was driving to St. Paul to go to a party.
You technically still only had 3 beers.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so if you get, how many beers you have? I had really 10, but no, 2.
It was probably
by volume. I had a case, but
right.
Glasses full.
By ounces,
3.
I probably had 60 to 70 ounces, which would be 5 6 cans of beer, right? Like, so. Yeah,
as long as you know your weight, your body weight, and what to keep you under 0.08 or whatever it is, or 0.8.
That's why. That's why I don't want to lose weight. I'm 280 pounds right now, and it's actually fucking kind of cool because I can have 5 in 2 hours and still drive.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
Yeah,
But that's the other thing about technology is they have a calculator. So if you ever have to like go out and you feel like you want to drink, like you're at a wedding reception or something, just Google or just say into your phone, blood alcohol calculator, and it'll tell you, what are you drinking, how many ounces is it, when did you start, what's your weight, all these questions. And then when you have 3 beers, it'll say you're probably at about 0.04, and then when you get up to like 0.06, you probably want to stop
or just get a breathalyzer.
Yep. Well, those are kind of like the accuracy on those, but the one of the problem with the blood alcohol thing or the calculator is that it's 1 jigger of alcohol towards 1 beer, towards 1 glass of wine.
And for people to know, a jigger is 1.5.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
1.5
80 proof is what they use.
80 proof.
And 80
1.5.
proof. The problem with that is 1 jigger of alcohol. If I drink the equivalent amount of beer, I feel completely different.
Well, but that's what that's why they ask you in the calculator what you're drinking. Now, if you're mixing it up, then it's
if I drink 2 shots,
if it's a 12 ounce or a 16 ounce, 4.5% or 5%, it'll ask you all that. It'll knock it all down.
Yeah, but if I drink two equivalent two things of alcohol or vodka
Right.
or I'm sorry, like whiskey.
Right. But it's an average.
Yeah,
though. It's an average. It doesn't mean you could have guys that are hardcore drinkers that can drink a 12-pack and walk a straight line.
Beer. Yeah, beer.
Right.
I mean,
But they're still legally impaired.
Yeah, beer doesn't mess with my equilibrium as much. And then in speaking but hard alcohol, it does.
So, Patrick, does the app ask you how fucked up your liver is and how much you weigh too?
No, it doesn't ask about experience, but it does ask how much you weigh.
Oh,
Your
okay.
height and weight and
Okay.
everything.
the
So
liver's an
How many
amazing thing.
DWAs have you had? 1, 2, or 3? 3. You're an idiot.
yeah.
Stop.
I would-
That's
but
when it
I
just
only know
says
this
stop
because I went-
drinking.
Yeah.
One of my,
Well,
one
not
of my
good at this
friends
anymore.
last year
Right.
got married, and he had a reception or a ceremony and a reception like 30 minutes south of Sacramento, and I'm like, fuck, okay. And they're drinkers. Like you're gonna walk in and they're gonna like here. There's gonna throw a Modelo in your hand, and it's gonna be like fuck. So I just knew. So I nursed like 6 beers over 6 hours, and I drove home confident. Like pull me over, I don't care. But it was just nice to have. It was a good tool.
That's like Dave Gorman. You mentioned Dave earlier. Dave was on the show a few episodes back, and he bought a Corvette. That was kind of his bucket list car that he wanted. He bought a nice Corvette. And his neighbors, he was talking about, saying his neighbors like, oh, you're going to get pulled over. And Dave's like, so what? I don't drink. Who cares?
Hey,
What are they going to do? What are they going to do to me? I mean,
yeah, now when a police officer gets behind me, I'm like, cool.
yeah.
Like, go ahead.
Yeah.
Like, you should go
Let's
do
go.
something better because I'm not doing anything wrong, and I know that. So I know there's some other nefarious shit going on somewhere else. So I'm good, but
So
yeah.
now you got to figure
Well-
out different ways to mess with them.
Cops don't pull over sports cars as much as people think they do.
They don't. I mean, because
They know
when-
that.
as someone who has pulled people over, it's usually when that car, unless that car is doing
Yeah.
stupid stuff, and then you pull them over, and they're sober as a judge, and they got a lot of insurance.
Yeah.
Don't be an idiot. Get out of here.
Unless it's stolen, it's probably pretty well insured.
But you see what we call the warrant wagon. That's what we call the beat up car.
Yeah.
It's got smoke
Fire
coming out of the.
tabs.
It's instead of a window, it's got it's got
Saran wrap.
plastic. Yeah. Those are
tape.
ones that are always the person's like, hello, officer.
They got 2 of the 4
No.
tires on there, or the spare
Yeah.
donuts. They're offset, like one in the
Right.
front, right? and the
How did you get the other spare?
the one snow tire.
My friend.
My buddy's car. Yeah.
Yeah, because as an MP, when I was, if you have a sports car, and I have a sports car,
Yeah, you
I'm,
do.
Yeah, I'm not going to drive that drunk. That's the stupidest thing ever.
Well, that's
Why
like
would I? Why would I drive?
that's
Why
like
would I
that's like my car.
risk? Yeah, exactly.
My
Why would I
car
risk-
screams, pull me over. And because it's a really fast car. I'll show you the car.
Know your Charger?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's
It's not
the
because you have a I hate cops bumper.
Okay,
sticker.
you went-
I
'Cause I
didn't.
had that for a while.
It
I
has
got pulled
a
over
I
all the
love.
time.
I had a
You
giant
also
Jägermeister
had I love
sticker on my
something
truck.
porn on the back of your truck too, didn't
I have no idea where I got that.
No, but Juhl, you'll appreciate this. I had a black Nissan pickup truck.
I
and,
remember that
back
black
in the day-
Nissan pickup.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you remember back in the day when the ribbons, the magnet ribbons were the cool thing. It was cancer yellow and pink for breast cancer. And
Right.
so there was a blue one for I support police officers. So I had put that on there
Well, yeah.
as a drinker going, I'm going to drive home drunk a lot.
I went the opposite way back. Around that same era, I had, I think it was like a 92 4Runner, and across the back window, the whole back window, just a giant Jägermeister sticker. Like just spelled out. Like it was the top
Pull
rocker
me
or
over.
something. Like, and the window rolled down, which was nice. So just
Did you?
I never got pulled over in that car, but yet
Did you have the 3-bottle Jaeger machine in the back seat?
it wasn't in the back seat, but I did have one.
Or the
it was in my-
windshield wiper
that was in my bedroom.
fluid,
Yeah.
where you'd fill it up with vodka and have the tube run into the car so you could make
Oh, yeah, we
vodka
used to-
crayons.
Well, back in high school, we had party balls. You remember the party
Oh,
balls?
yeah, absolutely.
5.16 gallons. of
Oh,
milk.
yes.
Yep.
And we would buy the tap, but then we would extend the hose so you could run it all the way up under your front seat, and it would be in
Yeah.
the hatch or the trunk of your car. And just
Right.
because
Why didn't-
you're 17 and you live in Maple Grove, and you're like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't I drive? and drink beer.
You should have just got the IV.
Everybody did a roadie. Everybody did a roadie.
Everybody.
And just
Well,
lift
yeah,
up
I
the
mean,
carpet
it was
in the back and then
1990.
run
Like,
this-
unless you ran into a house or over a small child, the cops, they were like,
Right.
Or a mailbox.
and most of my friends, at least back then, this is a real quick story, but just being dumb. We all delivered pizzas, and the cops knew all of us, and you get stopped, and they're like, "Juhl, the fuck are you doing?" Like, I'm just going home from the party. Like, you know where you live? Like, can you make it all the way home? Like,
Yeah.
it's like 7 blocks, man. He's like, all right, go ahead. Like if they knew you
Was
were
this because
close,
you-
like you almost
you
got
had-
home, and I delivered their pizza too.
Well, that's why they're like going. I'm letting. Put it this way: if you were delivering pizza to my house on a regular basis,
Yeah.
I'm not pulling you over. I don't care if you're doing this. If you did,
Let
I'd
me
pull you
go.
over. I would give you a ride home,
Oh, yep.
and you could go get your car
Well,
the next day. But
I've had that
You gotta
happen
let me
too.
go.
I do
I'm
not
gonna run
want
my
a
Just said
tainted
attack on
pizza.
your
He just said
pepperoni
he
next
had that
time, you
happen too.
fucking pig.
I don't
I-
want my pizza tainted.
No, I've
Sorry.
been told
Yeah.
I've had that happen a couple of times. Once actually by an actual state trooper. This was leaving sensors years ago. But anyway, yeah, he was like, "You're gonna pull the car over there. You're gonna go on that payphone." This is how long ago it was, payphones. And Santa Claus was riding a unicorn next to the payphone. 'Cause all three of those still exist. But anyway, he's like, "If that car is not there when I drive by in 3 more hours, I have all of your info. I will arrest you." So he's like, "Just put it over there." And I was like, "Thank you, officer."
What if it got towed? You're fucked.
I
Well, they didn't know. Cops would know. if
which
they got
which
told.
he which he couldn't
No.
have done 3 hours later, but you just didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a
Probable cause doesn't
he
work like
clocked me
that.
going 106 on 35, and I tried to ditch him.
Ooh.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh.
And all he did was
Oh.
go park your car in
Yeah.
a cab.
He's like,
Wow.
"Yeah, I blew a red," and he's like, "How about your buddy in the passenger seat? How drunk is he?" I'm like, "Oh, he's way drunk than I am." He
yeah,
shouldn't
back
drive
then
at all.
they-
I mean,
they
it's
had
his car.
red,
Why do you
yellow, or
think I'm
green. They had-
driving?
Well,
They didn't have the
it-
exact .11.
Well, back
whatever,
in the
you know?
day, the cop would pull you over, and when you pull a car over as a police officer, you are vested in whatever's in the car, whatever's going on. This could
And you're
go
an
on
asshole.
for hours.
Yeah.
Hours. So you're vested. So you don't pull cars over when it's come time for it to
Yeah.
end your
If
shift.
there's a
You-
dead body in the trunk,
Yeah.
you're working overtime.
Yeah. So a lot of cops would pull you over, and they're like going. All of a sudden, they're like going, "Is this worth it
Yes.
or not?"
No.
And it becomes a, do
I found
or
being
don't
polite
I?
really helped.
Yeah, being polite helps big
A lot.
time.
Yep.
Very honest.
Big time.
that's when you go, thank
But
you,
you also-
ass a fucker.
Yeah. But you also want to find out when the shift changes, and that's when you
Yeah.
leave the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
are they doing 3 to 11s, 11 to 7s?
I've seen when I was at MP, I've seen accidents at the end of my shift, and it's like I'm calling that in because I am not doing that. I am not doing that traffic accident paperwork. That is dang. That's not what I'm doing right now.
But I mean, something similar happened to me that happened to you. But I was driving my vet way back when, my Chevette.
Chevette.
What was the 3 on the
Love that.
tree?
Oh, that was the Mercury Monarch. Remember my VC?
Oh, yeah.
The Vomit Comet?
Yeah.
There was 3 on the tree, 72 Mercury Comet. This is before the Comet. I had a 1980 Chevette. And it had some front end damage, so it would pull to the right, so I would have to drive like this to go straight. And
It's called an alignment. You could have got that fixed.
yeah, I know, but I got it from my cousin Dean, and
He had hairspray and guitars to buy.
exactly. And I was wearing cowboy, but this is big 80s, big hairband. And me and my buddy Doug Newberg, he had to go he was like, you have a smoke? And I'm like, yeah, I don't really smoke, but I smoke other people's cigarettes, but I don't smoke my own because I don't buy them. Therefore, I'm not a smoker, but I'll smoke everybody else's. He goes, well, we got to go to the store because I need a cigarette. And I'm like, dude, I'm hammered. And he's like, you're going to be more hammered in about 3 hours. So why don't we do it now? And I'm like, that logic works.
That tracks.
That tracks. Yeah. So we're driving to the grocery store or the mini mart, 2 miles down the street. And of course I'm driving like this to go straight, and it's kind of pulling and stuff. And this is in Plymouth, and the Plymouth cop pulls me over. And at this time I was a bus driver for Ryder Student Transportation. And this is when the drink, it wasn't 0.08, it was It was 0.10. And I get pulled over, and he's having me doing all these tests.
FSTs, yep.
But the tests were stupid. He goes, grab your right foot behind your back, jump up and down, and do this like I'm like a rodeo.
You're like, I do that all the time.
And 2 more cop cars roll up, and they're all sitting against the cars,
Just laughing.
and I'm doing this, and I'm falling over. Can I take my boots off?
He was the rookie cop that they were all.
No, and he's like, sure, take your boots off, and they're almost crying. And there's a female officer that she had to walk away. She was laughing so hard, and I'm like,
saying meow,
meow,
Nimbly Bimbly from
meow now.
meow.
So they're having me doing all these tests, and I'm like, are these? And then finally, I like going, are these real tests? And he's like, why don't you just blow in this? And blowing it, and he's like, if it's a 0.10 or more, what do you do? Because he grabs my license. And
I drive little kids to school.
That's what I said. He goes, he looks on the back, bus endorsement. You're a school bus driver? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, well, your career's over. And because I blew, and it was, within the range. And he's like going, do you know this guy? And he said the name. And I'm like, yeah, that's my boss. He goes, that's my cousin. And I'm like,
Great.
And I'm like,
double trouble.
And I looked down and I go, please don't tell him. He goes, well, it doesn't matter. You're going to lose your license anyway. So he's going to know. And he goes, I'll tell you what. And he wasn't going to arrest me anyway, because it made me do all these tests that weren't even tests.
It's probably at the end of his shift.
And yeah, and he kept looking over at his watch and kept looking at it. So I knew there was something going on. So he goes, I'll tell you what we're going to do here. You're going to get back in your car. Yep. Yep. Back in the car. You're going to drive it across the street to that parking lot, church parking lot, and you're going to park it there, and it's going to stay there overnight, just like you.
Yeah.
And it better not move, because if it moves, I know who you are. And I'm going. He didn't even say arrest you. You will lose your job.
And he knew you knew he could fuck up your life.
Yeah, and I kind of went, yes, sir.
Yeah, I was very thankful, because based on what I've heard, state troopers don't exactly like to let people go.
No, they never.
Often.
This is a local cop. Troopers don't. But then my dumbass friend Doug had to pipe up and say, "Well, how are we going to get our cigarettes?" And I'm like. Oh shit, I'm going to jail for sure now. And I'm like, turn around, Doug, shut up.
I thought he was going to say something like, what about the bag of weed we got?
And he's like, he goes, no, really, I need a smoke, and we got to get like 3 packs of smokes. And the cops is looking at me, shakes his head, and he goes, he will never drive that car, right? And I'm like, never.
No, not it.
And he goes, fine, get in. And we're like, are we going to jail? And he was like, no, we're going up to the store.
Oh, wow.
Now, granted, we came from a party full of people, and these are young people. I mean, usually most of them are underage, and
generally don't want to see a police.
And this is long hair time back in the the late 80s,
Did you
early
mention
90s.
The story in your interview for a police officer, Brad?
Yes, actually, I had to. I did. I talked to, and most of the guys are interviewing for the background were laughing. They're like, "Got that." They're writing notes down, like on a separate piece of paper. It's like, are that going with that? No, this is a great story. So he drives us up to the mini mart. We get our smokes, and then he brings us back, and it's in a cul-de-sac. So he pulls in, and all of a sudden you see people just pouring out of the house or running over. He opens up the.
Did he drive you to the party?
Yes, he drove us back to the party.
Oh my God!
To make sure that we would have to. I mean, it's miles away.
Back.
So he gave us time to get the cigarettes, drove us there to make sure that we couldn't get back to our car.
Yeah.
Did he light him up?
No, he didn't. Nice. He brought us in, and everybody's piling out. And he gets out of the car, opens the door. We get out, and people are running. They stop, and they're like,
"You just got to."
And they're looking at each other. We go back to the party. They're like, "What the hell?" I'm like, "I got pulled over for your DWI," and they're like, "So you're back from jail this quick?" No, the cop drove us up to the mini mart to get smokes and dropped us off. And they're
like a movie.
And they're like, "Oh my God!" And it didn't end there. I must have been pulled over 4 more times for stuff that people were like, "Only you, only you." Only this could have happened to you.
Well, if you drive a Chevette, that's the front end's on alignment. You got to
fast forward years later. I mean, I'm after the bar. I'm going to a poker game, and that's when I had the Cadillac, the big red Cadillac, tinted windows, and somebody in Plymouth. This is Plymouth again, going to our friend Brian King's house, Lance King, that we had on the show, his younger brother, to play poker. And I'm driving. I'm like, oh, where are you guys at? And I had the old Nextel phone flipped up, and I'm talking to them and stuff, and tinted windows. Well, somebody robbed a liquor store with a red Cadillac with tinted windows.
Yeah, that'll happen.
So when they pulled me over, there was like 8 cars, and everybody's pointing guns at me. I'm like, roll down the window. I'm like this, and I look at the officer, and he looks at me, and Brian King says it's at this address, and the cop looks at me, goes, I know where that's at. We'll bring you there. He goes, the reason why we pulled you over is because of this reason, but obviously you're not that person.
Yeah.
I can only imagine who they were looking for. So I just kind of went, okay. And so I follow him to the address, and I pull over, and everybody's standing outside of the house shaking their heads going, only you shuck. And I know you've had plenty of those experiences.
So what's the number 1 bar? We went 3, 2.
Right.
What's 1?
1 is the iconic bar of Minneapolis. Take a guess what you think it is.
I don't know. I work at so many.
Iconic.
No pressure.
Iconic bar.
I know. I said
we
the wrong
all
one.
We all went to every weekend.
The iconic bar that I can only think of is Liquor Lyle's.
No,
Those
Urban Wildlife. I know we talked about it, but that was
the
bar of bars. It was so cool that, everyone envied you and Tony for working there because everybody wanted to work there, but there's no way they would ever be able to get in. The list of bartenders was way too long to get into that
stumbled
place.
into that.
It's like working at Murray's Steakhouse. You got to die before someone else can work there.
Yeah.
But that was, seriously, every rock star, the Vikings players, people would
Patrick from 93X.
that guy.
That guy too.
Would roll in there, and it was just like, and it was always busy. Even on the dead nights, there were people there that were like, that were notable people.
It was a fun. Yeah.
So anytime that you go in there, you would either see a rock star, an actor, or a professional, football player, or sports star.
Okay, so is Brett right?
You guys.
Yeah. That's probably the most
Friday and
iconic
Saturdays?
place. What's that?
Did you guys do music only on Friday and Saturdays? Because I was gonna say, I
There
think
was
during the week the bar was still the bar. It was just awesome. But if you go in there on a Friday, it was double. It was like the bar was still awesome, and you had this fucking cool.
And it was great because we could still have the bar for our bar. All the regulars and people that weren't necessarily there for a show, so they didn't have to pay a cover or anything. But it was also great for the bands and stuff because they'd be like, "Wait a minute, I'm kind of digging this." Like they could hear it from the main bar very well,
Right.
and some good local acts. You had Moog on the other day from Black Flag.
Right,
and,
right.
It's a lot of those bands from that era. And I think they got a lot of, attention from people that may not have seen them had they not just been drinking at their regular watering hole and we just happen to have a music room next door.
And because back in the day, suburban kids, like Brett touched on earlier, we would flock to Minneapolis because that was the cool place to go. There wasn't anything like that in the suburbs.
And it wasn't dangerous. It was fun. You always had a good time. You might have a fight here and there.
Yeah, the worst thing that happened was somebody got sucker punched or there was a fight between drunk dudes, drunk gals, whatever. But there wasn't the shootings. There wasn't the stabbings. There wasn't all the bullshit,
It was a cool, the atmosphere was electric. You felt alive when you're down there. You're going to something that's really cool.
You just danced like that chipmunk thing, or the gopher,
or the Trump dance.
And Juhl, can you confirm, was it Tony Oliveri that started? Remember that you guys did an outdoor festival in the parking lot?
Oh, the
next
Urban
door?
Sprawl.
Urban sprawl, yes. They actually did a couple of years where they had flip play and they had an outdoor stage.
Yeah,
you would go into the bar,
big
get
things,
hammered, walk out with a beer. Go, oh my god, it was
because
amazing. I remember
that parking lot was owned by Westy and Class A Valet, and Westy and
also let me park there for free all the fucking time.
Me,
but
a lot of us
gave him a $20 tip.
Well,
and that's how it worked, right?
You know,
he was the wheel, but
he was good friends with Jim and Mike.
Yep.
And so there was a lot of back and forth with those guys, which was great. But yeah, the urban sprawl was fantastic. Tony had a lot to do with that, if I remember right. Bobby Wandersee,
Shannon Brettel probably. I think helped.
Shannon and Shannon and Eric with him being in
Wendy
Flip and
from
whatnot.
93X.
Yeah.
We promoted it. You guys set it up. Yeah, it was just
it was like a lot of fun, and there was a lot of cool local acts that were part of it, and it was just people behaved, but they didn't behave, but they behaved, if that makes sense.
Well, they partied, but the party was a positive vibe.
It wasn't. Yeah, it just wasn't an icky feeling, like
Right. Like now, it's like downtown. If you're going to go out, everybody's like, looking for the the car that looks weird.
Look at me. I'm the captain now.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. And a couple of years ago when it got bad, where the bottom fell out, it's like a kid was partying downtown because he just passed his bar test and got shot on a corner because some stray bullet hit him.
Yeah.
Well,
the thing
I hope
too
he
is,
becomes a defense lawyer.
And
well,
I think
he's dead, so
a lot of it too. I think with back then,
that's my dark humor. I'm sorry.
When it was that electric feeling downtown, the times that we kind of remember without the ride share too, and without all the bullshit that goes on downtown. Like now, if people go down there, they take their Uber or whatever, and they go to the one spot they're going to, and then they get right back in an Uber or whatever and go, which is great. But back then, you could just wander. Like you
start at one.
You were bar hopping,
city, and then you walk.
And you knew somebody that worked at every bar, or, maybe you didn't know somebody who worked there, which is very rare, but you knew somebody, or your work buddy knew somebody, or your girlfriend knew somebody, or whatever. And they knew you, and everybody watched out for each other. And, it wasn't there wasn't competition between the bars. Like, obviously, everybody wants to do well financially, but everybody supported each other. Like, oh, shit, we don't have another keg of this, and it's Friday at 10 o'clock.
Right.
And I can't get a beer delivery till Monday. Fuck. So you call down the road, hey, so-and-so, you got an extra barrel. Yeah. And they would run it over if they had a chance. Or, our ice machine went out.
Bouncers were like that too. I let all the bouncers in from all the other bars, and then they
in.
Like you were saying, people don't feel safe, and it was just a different.
Well, that's
so much more shit out in the suburbs.
But that's when the general public respected law enforcement
authority.
They knew that
that's
law
when they
enforcement would thump you.
But
they knew they would thump you if you got out of line, and people would be like good with. They're like, hit him again.
Yeah. But there's also a moral compass.
What Juhl said though too is you could walk around or bar hop, like I think Stacy said too, but there was like it's kind of weird. It's like a radio station, like on the dial. You have metal, you got this, you got that. So you could go. There was a bar underneath Rosen's that they had 25-cent pitchers on, whatever. And so you could go, I'm going to go hang out with college kids just so I feel younger for a minute.
and get really cheap beer.
And then on the way to the urban, you go to the Loon for one, and then maybe you'd stop at like the hip hop,
Pickle Parrot.
Or you walk by back in the day, what's called the Fine Line.
The Fine Line,
that and like, oh fuck, that
Club
band is playing tonight.
Yeah.
And then you just dive in, or you just continue to go to the wildlife, and you get like 5 experiences in 3 hours. And there wasn't $20 covers for all these fucking places.
But nobody ever went across the street. Remember the across the street? Those other clubs.
You didn't go north of First Avenue.
No. Just across the street, because everything was like Club Esche. You had the Fine Line. You had all those places, and there were some bars on the other side.
Yeah, that came and went all the time, but they never survived.
Yeah. I think we had a work party there once.
And every bouncer
from
bouncer, every bartender had each other's numbers for the bars downtown. So even if you're on one end of First Ave and like you're at OD's, right, and say something fucking silly's going on down at it was the Muddy Pig at one point. And it was Harvey's.
Yeah.
But say something was going on down there. Good old Rosie and
Love Rosie.
yeah,
Oh,
good old Rosie.
Oh.
Gotta go see Rosie.
Maxwell's.
Yes,
Mhm.
shameless plug for Rosie.
Absolutely.
But within a second, like if you would have thrown somebody out and somebody was getting out of line in your bar, we called everybody.
We called the other bar and said, don't
let them in.
Don't let them in because
Don't
we
let 'em
didn't
in.
have all the cameras and shit back then. You didn't have the cell phones and
No.
all the texting necessarily. It was just like, or you would just run down the road and just let everybody know, like, I'm going on break. Does that mean you're going drinking? No, I'm also going to let them know that there's a shithead coming their way.
Keyword, I'm also letting them know.
Yeah, this is double duty. Yes, I'm going to probably have a few drinks while I'm out, but I'm also doing my civic duty and letting everybody know that there's a complete pile of shit in here that we threw out.
I used to have Prince's head of security's number, and he'd call me when I was working at Minneapolis Cafe. He's like, "Yeah, little man wants to come in. Can you set a table up for him?" So I'd make sure I set a table up for him in the back.
The little man,
yeah.
But speaking of little man, when I worked at O'Donovan's, speaking of, there's a big concert was at Target Center, and we ran out of vodka. And remember Jake Schulte?
Oh yeah,
was a bartender at 7, who is now a police officer.
I just heard that the other day.
He's been a police officer for many years now, and he is one of the best police officers I've seen out there. This was the right thing for him at the right time. But when he was bartending at 7 on the rooftop, we had to get some vodka. We ran out of vodka, so I go to get a case, and it's busy. They're bumping. There's stuff going on. There's some guy on the stage that's playing. He just got done. He comes up to the bar. I'm waiting at the bar, and I'm talking. One of the guys got like an English accent, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, where are you from?" And he's in England, and I'm like, "Oh, great, So what are you doing tonight?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm playing." And I saw him. I just saw you play. I'm fantastic. You're pretty good. Hey, I work at the Irish pub right across the street. When you're done with your show, come on down. I'll buy you a pint and stuff. He goes, maybe. I might be a little too busy. I'm like, well, if you have time, I'll get you shot in a bump and stuff. And, all right, man, I'll think about it. I'm like, all right, well, good to meet you. Shake his hand, fist bump, all right, talk to you later. And I go back to the pub and I'm, get the vodka and stuff. And lo and behold, I find out like a few hours later that the person that was playing on the stage was for like KDWB, their star party, and he was actually the act that was playing at Target Center, and it was Ed Sheeran. So I'm going to Ed Sheeran. Yeah, come over to the pub. I'll buy you a pint and a shot. Come on, dude.
He's like, I could buy the restaurant.
And he was like looking at me like going, he's looking for like, that show Punked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Am I getting punked? Yeah. Ashton Kutcher's going to jump out. You're punked, dude. But yeah, but you're right. We always did that. I mean, it's like, I remember working at Fridays when you were working at Sensors, same thing. Hey, we need a keg. We need, a box of this or a case of that. And here you go. You don't see that much anymore.
Let's talk about the club that we don't talk about much that went away. That was the greatest. Was Mississippi Live.
Oh my God!
Do you guys remember that?
Remember?
Did you ever
that
work
was
there?
before my time.
Was it really?
That was closed before I was 21.
Was it really?
That was closed in like 92.
That was and
that was like when you're.
No, that wasn't closed in 92.
Probably it was. Yeah, I think I was pretty young. I was in my 20s at the time.
Was that that place combination of a bunch of bars?
Yeah, at River Place.
Yeah, River
Place.
Yeah,
Yep.
It had,
so they had like 15 different bars
in
and
there,
stuff like that. And Juhl can probably attest to this. They have a 5-year plan. When you're doing clubs, you don't want to keep the club open for more than 5 years.
Yep.
There are certain instances like the 90s that'll, you already have a built-in, customer base, and it's not just, one thing, but you have a bunch of stuff that people come to. But this is was baked into a 5-year plan where they would get this running. They would get their money out of it, and then they would vacate. They'd vacate because they get their money. After that, you're losing money. So, and that's why it was so big for the 5 years. The first 3, probably 4 years, it was big, and as it started declining into year 5,
yank out.
Yeah, they yanked out.
That was
a lot
of fun.
It was one cover charge, $20.
Yep.
Got you. And this is like 90s $20. So it was a lot of money.
Right.
But it got you in, and the drinks were like cheap. It wasn't expensive. Yeah,
they tried to
country bar.
recreate that at what was it, the Rockin' Upper East Side, the fourth
Yes.
floor of the mall.
Yes, yep.
Except for how the fuck did you get out there?
You
know, there
couldn't.
wasn't
I
the
mean,
light rail. You could take a bus,
Right.
or you could, risk driving through Bloomington.
But downtown it was a bigger deal. I mean,
Right.
Well, they tried to do that upstairs at Minneapolis Cafe or MIA, right?
Yep.
The Mall America.
Yeah.
They tried to do that with upstairs.
Yeah.
And they did for a little bit, and it didn't work. But when they put it out at River Place, called it Mississippi Jam,
Mississippi Live,
that was it.
Well, because
it was huge.
Well, it was just across the bridge from what was already a thriving downtown.
Right.
And it was an era, too, even though I missed it by a little. I was like 19 at the time, I think, probably
Right.
when it closed 20. Obviously still drinking, but not there. But I think the attitude even of drinking these days is vastly different.
It was way different.
Everybody's smoking weed.
Well, yeah, and that's the big thing. Weed's now the big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yay.
it was a different atmosphere altogether. Again, we were talking there, the crime, you didn't think about crime in downtown or even in Northeast. You didn't think about, I can't drink and drive and stuff like that. Well, there was less emphasis put on drinking and driving. But
And like you said, you could walk around with $400 in your pocket.
yeah, you could walk around. You weren't going to get robbed. You weren't going to get beat up. You weren't going to get shot.
I saw.
It was
by the way,
a different
I saw a recent
different thing.
poll about most DUI cities, most drunk cities that people drive in, and Minneapolis was 3 and Sacramento was 6. So
Yeah.
they actually
Those
they've
are the
actually
days
been doing
that
a lot
you're-
of checkpoints out here.
Yeah, but
A lot of checkpoints.
They took that survey when you weren't participating in, Patrick.
At the time, you
drink
were
and drive,
sober
so-
for
I
8
know,
years.
right.
So yeah.
But again,
Yeah.
But I mean,
No, it's
you
recent.
could attest, Jewel. It was a different atmosphere, right?
Right.
People
Well-
were happy and they were looser with their money. Now
Well,
it's like trying to,
and to tie it
squeeze
in
blood out of a turnip.
to kind of what Patrick was saying, what we've all touched on a little bit is there wasn't a lot in the suburbs back then.
Right.
And it's flooded now. Every suburb has obviously grown so much
Yeah.
in 20 years, 25 years. There's no reason for people to come downtown anymore. And as that whole vibe switched, like they built all these condos and it's going to bring this whole vibrant city lifestyle downtown. Well, it didn't happen.
No.
The vacancy rate is stupid. And, people don't need to feel like, why would I go? I have an Irish pub now because there was Kieran's, OD's, and
Right. The local.
yeah, and even before the local, it was over in St. Paul, the Dub.
The dub, yeah. The
There
blender.
wasn't like we used to just get packed on St. Patrick's Day, but now there's a
Yep.
fucking Irish bar. They're popping up like Starbucks,
Yeah.
and people
It's
don't
not even
need
really
to
an Irish
leave-
pub. It's just got an Irish name.
right? And people don't need to leave their little comfort zones. It's not a destination.
Right.
They don't have to pay
21-year-olds are
$20
playing
to
video
$50
games.
for parking. They're looking at screens.
They're
all
playing
day.
video games. They're on Discord with all of their group of people. They have 15,
They
20,
don't-
30 friends.
They have their
Yep.
social
Yep.
interaction, and it's
And-
all.
It's
all-
it's
yeah.
online. It's
Technology.
online. They're playing video games. I mean, I play Counter-Strike
No,
or
but I mean, like,
Yeah,
just
exactly.
screen
So,
time
yeah.
in general. You're not
Yeah.
going out
Yep.
and meeting up with your friends. Like,
And
you
here
can
in
take it back
Sacramento-
old school with games. People
Yeah.
Yeah, and
like
you
I
can
got a
sit
buddy who
home.
plays.
then I want to have sex
D&D.
at the end of the night. I just pull up Pornhub, and that's it. There's your whole night.
Right.
Yeah, you can stay home and wear your boxers with little hearts on them.
Exactly.
I was gonna say, like in Sacramento, it was kind of a when I got here, my wife and I would go out to like pretty much just eat. But when I got divorced, I'm like, I'm gonna go downtown and do the thing, because I'm single now. And it was like, whoa, okay, because A, I was like older and it wasn't the same. But B, there wasn't a lot of the things that I remember about the bar scene 15 years ago, because I didn't really do the bar scene when I moved here and got married. So when I went downtown in 2018, Sacramento, I did find a place called the Torch Club, which is like a dive bar. They have like jazz musicians and blues musicians roll through, and it's people my age, like 30 to 50. And it's the closest thing to like a Minneapolis bar or even like a Northeast vibe that I found in Sacramento. But I'll go down to the Torch Club, and that's about it. Everything else is kind of a corporate clubby club, like what Minneapolis probably is. But the surrounding, like I live north of Sacramento downtown, like by 10-minute drive. So let's just say I'm, like Golden Valley or St. Louis Park or something like that. the neighborhood pubs that I visit, there's like 3 of them that I rotate around, and all of them try to imitate a Midtown bar. And so Midtown is actually kind of cool in Sacramento. Think Uptown before it got ruined.
Right.
It's very artsy. It's very, it's that crowd. It's Uptown, but we call it Midtown here. That's slowly changing now. But what I was going to say is my suburban pubs that I go to, one's right across the street from my apartment building, so I can like literally walk there and walk home. And one is like 2 blocks. I can drive there in less than 2 minutes if I want to drive, but it's a longer walk. But I'm just saying, these guys are building these suburban bars mocking the Midtown feel. So they've got like the cool, like the dive. It's like, when you put wallpaper up that's bricks, you know what I mean? That like they're trying to be like, oh, we have brick walls, and it's like, no, you don't. They're trying to do that vibe, but
like they've been there forever.
They're trying to recreate something that's, like you said, we're not going to travel for it, so the suburban bars know it, and that's why, like, oh, I can still go to like my neighborhood pub and still feel like I'm at a cool Midtown bar, and it's not the same, but. In a way, it kind of is.
Nobody dances anymore. There's no dance clubs.
Earlier sorry, I'm just blabbing, but the bartenders at these places are awesome. They are the shit. So they capture people with the people. Like,
that's what they have to do.
Bar, like the best bar that I used to go to, I don't go to anymore because one of the bartenders is a fucking cunt, and I won't go there anymore.
Well, right.
So,
I mean,
my friends are there, but I'm not going because she's a cunt.
I can get a fucking Jack and Coke or a Budweiser anywhere, but if the bartender's going to be a complete tool bag, then I'm just going to go to the next spot down where I actually enjoy the company of the bartender.
Exactly.
And a lot of it is built around staff and
how you're treated.
Right.
They go out of their way to treat you right. They're good staff. They're attentive.
I think there's a lot of people.
What do you have to do nowadays to be like a really professional, bring home the $200-$300 nights? Like, where do you have to work and what do you have to do?
I don't even know where to work, but I would start with these kids by not staring at their phone behind the bar and pulling on their vape all the time. Like actually interact with your guest.
Exactly.
Are they actually doing that?
They do that all the time.
Oh
my God.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a story where the bartenders, like always wiping down a glass with a cloth, and they're like, "Why are you doing that? Why do you do that?" And he goes, "So I don't look like I'm just lazy sitting here.
Right.
I'm doing something."
Well, and I look at this, maybe it's not just me. There's a lot of people out there, and it doesn't make me good at what I do. I don't know. I've done it for a long time. I've enjoyed it. I will say this. It is called the hospitality and service industry for
a reason.
You're there to be hospitable and to serve.
Yep.
And if you don't like doing that, then don't fucking work in this industry. And I get paid to talk to people and hear about hear about their life.
Yes, at least make them feel good for being there.
Right. They chose to come here. Again, they could go.
That's what we're doing now.
Go next door and get the exact same fucking drink.
Yep.
Probably for less money half the time.
Yeah.
But they choose to come here because
the way
in my mind, I feel that they enjoy my company on Sunday.
Well, and they do. I mean, that's why. I mean, everyone. I mean, I could go downtown and say, "Hey, Mike, we're gonna go check out Mike down at Stasui's," and everyone's gonna go, "Who the fuck is Mike?" And I go, "Oh, sorry. We're gonna go and hang out with Juhl." "Oh, fucking Juhl! I love Juhl. Juhl's awesome."
I had a roommate for over a year who didn't know my first name was Mike.
But
no way.
Patrick, you remember Mason?
Oh yeah. Oh, Mason. Yes.
Yeah. Look at a piece of mail. He's like, "Who the fuck is Michael?" I'm like,
but that's
I'm not
the same.
Like Cher or Madonna. I have I have a full given name.
But that goes to show I didn't know your first name for probably 2 years when I worked at Fridays in Roseville. I just knew you as Juhl.
Yeah, well,
and I thought Juhl was like
Jewel.
I thought Juhl was your name, like your first name.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's Juhl's last name? They go Juhl. I go Juhl. I'm like, no, it's Mike. And I'm like, who the fuck is Mike? And they're like,
redundant,
Juhl.
silly.
I'm like, yeah, I know Juhl, but who's Mike?
Yeah, generally the only people that called me
Alice.
Michael back then were like
Alice.
pretty much like the judge and my mom.
And your mom.
I'll be glad your last name isn't Hunt.
Yeah. That's why I go by Michael.
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, there you go.
But I mean, but you were, you know,
we
you worked
had
into
an
that.
overnight DJ named Mike Hunt, by the way.
Oh my God, no.
No, because you could say it on overnights. But yeah,
Oh my God.
we're still friends with him.
Wow.
But yeah, Mike. They're like, well, actually, it was actually Mike Hunter.
Oh my
They had to make it Hunter. I forget that. We wanted to go with Mike Hunt, but we made it Mike Hunter.
I had a friend named Jay Beach, and his mom was named Sandy.
Sandy Beach.
That's amazing.
That's the truth.
I went to
Honest to
school
God,
with a
truth.
girl named Margie Butts, and I think she had an uncle named Dick or Harry or something. I don't
Harry
know.
Butts.
Harry Butts.
But I mean, when it came to back in the day, and for those of you that are younger than us, back in the day when we talked about,
Which is everyone
which
watching.
is everyone watching, but back in the day when you know it was, you had excitement going downtown. You were excited to go downtown. You were putting yourself together. You're going downtown. It was like
Oh, you're
going to the
spending hours
rock clubs.
in front of the mirror. Yeah.
Right. And it was exciting. It was electric.
Yeah.
You couldn't wait to get down there. It's people. There were people around. People wanted to meet each other. It was positive.
Right.
Yeah.
Not like it
It was
is now, but when it is positive. But you were, like I was saying, introducing you and on some of the other shows, you were an iconic bartender in Northeast Minneapolis because everybody knew the name Juhl. Everybody. You could say we're going to head downtown and hang out with Juhl. They knew exactly who you're talking about.
Good or bad.
Good or bad, but they knew who you were talking about and which bar you were going to. I didn't even have to say the bar. I was working at Fridays. I got to catch my bus in an hour. I'm going to go hang out with Juhl. They knew exactly who you were and where I was going just by your name. And that matters because that really pushed service. People that were iconic. Tony was the other one. All I would have to say is
Bobby, who's now at Manny's. I worked with some pretty cool legends over the. When I in the industry, what I consider to be legends, like I was taught by some very good people and taught good things and bad things for that matter. Like, do this, don't fucking do that.
Yeah, but
you did it, but don't try not to do it again.
You know what your next career move is? Because I think we've lost Wally the Beer Man.
Yeah.
You should be Juhl the Beer Man and walk around.
Oh, we lost Wally a number of years.
That's your new Sunday gig.
They know I'm not going to be skimming.
no.
Did either of you guys know Jason Steele or Derek Ogram? Did they know that?
Jason Steele. I want to say he worked at the Parrot, maybe.
Yeah, he worked. I mean, he
Sounds like
worked
a porn
everywhere.
name. Yeah.
He worked everywhere.
Jason.
I know that name.
I worked with him at Tropics. I worked with him at Club Cancun.
Tropics.
I worked with him at Sharks.
Jason from shit.
But we found out
I
on
might
one of
know
the
him.
shows, we found out that Stacy and Patrick actually worked together.
Where at?
We used
They
to
just
bounce at
didn't know it
Tropics
at
together.
Yeah, Tropics.
Oh.
Yeah.
In 1995 through
Yeah.
1998.
Jason Steele have a shaved head?
Yep.
Yeah.
He did.
The last time I saw him, I think he was working out at a place in Blaine. This is probably like 10 years ago called Bricks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did he work at Bricks?
Yeah, because I lived right out there, and
Okay.
it was like kind of one of those suburban things. Like, oh, I'm not traveling to go drink. It's right there.
Yep.
It's so convenient. I'm already going to, Menards. I might as well stop here too.
Oh.
And the VFW's on the way. And yeah, he was working there.
Oh, okay.
But that was shit. That had to have been at least 10, 11 years ago.
Okay.
But yeah.
And Brett, I know you were on vacation, and you
Yep.
probably didn't set this up yet, and I'm going to make you look like an asshole, but happy belated birthday, Juhl.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Oh.
It was
Wow.
just a couple of days ago, right?
It was last Saturday.
Happy birthday.
Oh, happy
Oh, thank you.
birthday. Yeah,
Yeah,
you were
I
on.
knew.
Oh, very good.
Stacy had a birthday, and Brett got him a cake. So, their hospitality,
Yeah.
that bartender sucks right now. He's a fucking piece of shit. He's just like a Gen Zer.
We didn't know about it.
Did not
Yeah,
get you
we
a
did
cake.
not know.
They were in Alaska.
all right.
No, they were in Alaska.
I got gifts on
Yeah,
mine. Yeah, mine.
Do they still, in
This is
Alaska,
gift
do they
enough
still have those signs
being
that
here.
say no puffin?
Yes.
No puffin?
Yeah, no puffin. There's a little
There's
crosser,
a bird.
the circle.
puffin.
and-
Yeah, but you know what's so funny
Oh.
is nowadays
All over
if kids get caught, they don't get in trouble.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, if you got caught doing whatever,
Smoking?
Smoking.
If you're
Nobody
if
gets
you're
in trouble
puffing a
for
vape,
anything
Smoking a
anymore.
pancake?
Smoking a pancake.
You're
Bung
puffing a
and a
vape
blitz.
down back
Bung and a blitz.
behind the bar. Be
Cigar and a
"Oh,
waffle.
God."
Pipe in a
Yeah, you
grape.
used to get the
Pipe in a
belt.
grape.
Yeah.
You used to get the belt across the backside.
Some places, if you got caught drinking, you'd be like, "See ya."
Now you get arrested by Brett. Taking to jail.
I don't.
Take your kids.
Well,
Well, the
not,
thing
not for
is-
smoking. It depends on what you're smoking. So,
Well,
you know.
Even if you get
Well, no, I'm just saying,
arrested,
if
I'm
you
not
beat
gonna
your
get into
kid
that.
because they're smoking, you'll get thrown in jail.
Yeah, you probably could. The kid
Not beat your
called
kid, but give them back, across the backside.
Well, head to wall counseling.
they get even more upset if you beat other people's kids. It's really bad.
As a teacher, I hate that. Gosh.
I didn't have any of my own, but I just felt it. And-
So
Brett-
let's talk about the sobriety journey that you had.
yeah.
Ooh.
Let's talk about that. I mean, you're going from high intensity, being in the bar business back in the day, the apex of partying. I mean, and it really was to be a bartender. I remember when I became a bartender at TGI Fridays. I mean, oh my God. I mean, they're flipping bottles. The bar was always packed. Everybody's happy. And it was
340.
drink.
And
Yeah,
as-
340.
as a
during the
customer-
afternoon. Yeah. And it was just,
Brett, as a customer, even at Fridays, I would order a shot of something and you'd fucking do it yourself with me. Like you just pour two and we're going. Right? I mean, that was standard.
I will not confirm or deny that.
David?
I will say
Before
but
the cameras.
things
Before
were
the
a
cameras.
lot more lax back then, and a lot of it has to do with even just like business insurance and things
Right.
like that for the owners. You can't have staff drinking, and like it was just on so many levels, it was a different time, like we've talked about.
Yeah.
And for the younger folks, and for those of us our age and stuff out there, you'll remember it if you're even hung out. You didn't even have to work in the bar industry.
Right.
You knew about it, but shit, where's it going? With this?
Sobriety.
Oh,
Yeah.
just standard and insurance and
Yeah,
responsibilities.
people can't really drink. You can't drink behind the bar like we used to, and it was encouraged in a way by a lot of the owners
Because people were honest.
right. They were
They're
small time
bonding with
business
you.
owners. It wasn't corporate. They owned a bar. They got into the bar business probably in the 70s or 80s. A lot of these guys and gals, and it was fun. You could make a good living because there wasn't a shitload of competition, and there wasn't all this corporate money backing these other places up that can just bury you in a heartbeat.
Right.
And so, the camaraderie was definitely different. And so, yeah, there was a lot of drinking.
But I
And-
remember at the Urban, you'll remember this, like someone like me or Remy or somebody would come up and go, hey, we got the crew here in the band. We need 12 kamikazes and 8 Jaeger bombs.
Right.
And that was like, and you would be like, okay, cool. And you just fucking do it. But then there would be always like a little leftover commie that you would, okay, I
And
gotta
for
finish
me,
this,
it got to the point where
But you remember that shit, right? Like, it was insane.
I took it from a fun level to where my body, and mentally I became dependent on it.
Yeah.
And
Was there a time where you said, I'm done? Did you quit cold turkey, or did it take you some time? Or
I
Well,
tried
we can
often.
save the end for later. Like, we still got to get to how it led up to.
Well, it was one of those things where like my health wasn't good anymore. Like it wasn't great. I was gaining weight. There was nothing wrong with that, but it was just not healthy weight.
Uh-huh.
I looked like a pregnant straw, for lack
Yeah,
of a
the
better
dicky-doo.
term.
Yeah, you
And-
look great now. I mean, you're half the size.
I
Literally.
lost, well, the boot, my liver and just everything was getting out of control. My life was unmanageable, and I'm not pressing anything to anybody. It was just unmanageable for me. And I found that, I had tried getting sober multiple times over probably a 10-year course.
Mhm.
And I'd been to treatment a few times in 2020, and COVID came along, and I was in treatment again. Because I'd get out of treatment, I'd make it like a day or two.
Oh,
And I'm like, back to the, I'd
Same
walk up to the VFW by my house and play. Like, I wasn't ready to quit.
Uh-huh.
But it was almost, it wasn't kind of like a lifestyle though. I mean, when you're a drinker, it becomes your lifestyle.
And I was known, like you were saying, people heard the name and they knew which bar they were going to.
Yeah.
Well, I was also known as Juhl, who could really put them back.
Yeah.
And it crossed a line at some point. It went from drinking heavily and partying and, you age and all that shit. And then it was, now I'm drinking more. And you don't really realize it. It's a real, at least for me, it was a real slow but quick. It's hard to explain. Slippery slope where all of a sudden it was
Right.
like, wait a minute. I went from running around a little, 4 nights a week, 3,
Mhm.
4 nights a week to now it's every night a week. Now, like, I need a couple of drinks to stop shaking.
Jeez.
The 3 DWIs, one of them was actually almost 5 years ago to the day. I believe it was July 30th,
Mm-hmm.
which would have been the anniversary of Brad and Aaron. July 30th and 31st, they were
Right.
right, but they were within so many. I'd call it the same fucking day. And I decided that it would be smart to go meet some friends and have a little, memory thing. And I took my motorcycle.
Oh.
Well, I ended up getting run off the road by a semi, and I happened to also have had some drinks in me, and I broke lots of shit in my body.
And I remember that. I remember when you were out for a while. I didn't think you were going to ride a motorcycle again.
Yeah, I broke
Yeah.
4 ribs, broke my shoulder blade into 5 different pieces, broke my collarbone in a couple spots. There's some metal in there, and nice road rash, shit like that. And I didn't feel drunk because I was an alcoholic. We were talking about it much earlier in the podcast today, where
Right.
it's like, it doesn't matter sometimes your size, your metabolism and your tolerance for alcohol can be vastly different depending on how much your body's used to consuming and
Right.
processing. And, so whatever. I got into that accident, and it wasn't enough to sober me up quite yet. Like, I knew I should have been, but it took me about another 4 months, and then I was back in treatment again, and it was COVID, and I had my house, and people were starting to get sick at the treatment facility. I won't say the place it was because they were a wonderful, wonderful place. But for whatever reason, I just won't name them. But great place to go. It's near Stillwater, I'll say that. And they asked me if I wanted to leave after I just graduated like a month earlier, and I came back because I just went right back on the sauce. And they were like, well, you have your own house, and everybody's getting sick. Do you want to get out of here so you don't get sick? And I'm like, fuck, yes, I do.
Right.
Because I was still, in my mind, I'm like, just nobody can tell me what to do. Parents, brother, sister, whatever.
A little rebellious there.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Well,
And-
at that time, alcoholics don't want to be told that they're an alcoholic.
Right.
before
Deep down, we already know we have
right.
the problem.
Deep down, you have a problem. Deep down, you know that something's going on, but you're not ready yet, and you're not going to listen to someone tell you what you know you are.
But if
Right.
it's someone is, if
So-
say it's a law, now did you fight against that too? It's like, oh, the law says I can't do that. I'm going to do it anyway. type
Well,
thing,
like
or is
I
it-
was never told that I couldn't drink by the law. Like I never had a marked ID or anything where like there was a no alcohol restriction.
Uh-huh.
No,
I mean before, like we know that you're not supposed to drink and drive,
right.
right?
I know I didn't. I didn't really. As time went by, and as it got progressively a little bit worse, and with having a lot of different friends in the industry pass away, and a lot of us knew a lot of these people. It's not woe is
Right.
me. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
Everybody has to deal with life, and I was just burying it with booze, and people just
okay.
kept passing
And-
away, and different other things from growing up and whatever. Not a bad home. Had a wonderful childhood. Mom and dad, great. Married 60 years, coming up in a couple weeks.
Wow, that's awesome.
August 21st. Happy anniversary early.
It's usually a girl that breaks your heart. That
But yeah, so it just got to the point where after that motorcycle accident, I recovered from that, and it was COVID, so not a lot of bartending, and I was, and I left treatment, like I said, after a week, and my parents were pissed, and my siblings were pissed. They're like, "What are you doing? Why are you leaving?"
And I remember on Facebook reading that your apology fell off the wagon again. I am so sorry for disappointing everyone. And I looked at that and I was just like, it's not that you're disappointing your friends and family. It's more that you're disappointing yourself.
Right.
And that's even worse. I mean, when you disappoint yourself and you're disappointed in yourself, it's so
Yeah.
far worse than
And I
your friends being disappointed.
And I wanted that sobriety, especially, leading up that all of 2020. Like I moved back from Florida, and I knew that's what I wanted and what I needed, but I also wanted it. But I didn't quite know how to get there, and I kept relapsing, treatment, and I just, I could feel, I don't know why, it was just a driving thing, it's an addiction thing. And then finally, I got home after that week at Cedar Ridge, and, yeah, it's near Stillwater. But I got home, and it wasn't even like a switch flip. Like I don't really remember it being that point, but I just remember getting back to my house and then waking up the next day and just going, change your habits a little. Don't drive to the liquor store for your medicine so you don't have the shakes, because I'd always go get, towards the end,
Right.
I would go get vodka in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Just because I wouldn't feel right unless I drank.
Right.
To get my day going, and obviously I knew I was an alcoholic, but, and then the next day came. And then the next day came. And there was never, I had it, I wouldn't say easy. I don't think, everybody has a different story with addiction. It doesn't matter what your drug of choice is or if it's gambling or whatever the fuck it is. Everybody has their own way of how they got to where they're at.
Yeah.
Good, bad, or indifferent. And it was almost like it was, sometimes I feel guilty because it almost feels easy. Like, I will always be an alcoholic, but also when I talk to myself and I talk to other people sometimes too, I'm like, I just don't drink anymore. I don't even think of myself as an alcoholic all the time because I have zero cravings. I have zero desire to do it. I have
that's
nothing
interesting with that,
against it.
though.
But here's something I'll tell you. I have a coworker, another sergeant at work. I'm not going to say his name, but we'll just call him
Sarge.
Tim. So Tim, sergeant at work, he would chew all the time. And his wife would get on him, and, it's nicotine. It's another addiction.
Right.
And chew all the time, and he just couldn't stop. He'd stop, and she'd get mad. She's like, you're going to get cancer. I mean, it's disgusting or whatever. And she would say, you're a chewer. You chew tobacco. I mean, this is not alcohol. But he said something that was poignant to me, that he said, the way I got through that addiction, because nicotine is one of the hardest substances to get through.
Yep.
Yep.
He said, I had to look at myself. I'm not a chewer. Hey, do you want a dip? Nope, because I don't chew.
Yeah.
He did, but that was the mentality that kept pushing him back into it. Is like, well, yeah, I am, because I have chewed, so therefore I'm a chewer. No, he just looked at it as like, no, I'm sorry, I don't do that.
Yeah,
I don't do that.
That's my thing.
You know how
I just don't drink anymore.
Right, and that's kind of what you're saying, is that you finally hit that spot where it's like, I'm not a drinker.
And
you have to eliminate your habit spots.
Right.
And that doesn't have to work for everybody. That's what works for me. And there's so many things in the whole sobriety community where people are like, well, you're not truly sober if you're California sober. You don't go to AA, you're not sober. And it's like, hey, you know what? At the end of the fucking day, the thing that was making my life miserable and my health miserable has been removed.
Right.
And I got there successfully. There's a lot of people out there in our industry that have also made that choice. Some didn't make it.
Right. Oh, there's a lot that didn't make it.
Look,
I got to tell you, I haven't seen you in years, and you look like a different man. I mean, you look like a different man. You look like you actually de-aged. You look better than you ever have, to me.
Yeah.
Because I remember the drinking days and how you looked like, and
but you still have your hair too, so that helps.
And you look fantastic when you walked in the door to come on the podcast. I was floored. I'm like, oh my God, you look great.
After I quit drinking, I mean, obviously it's so much better for my health. And again, I'm not here to preach that people shouldn't drink alcohol.
Right.
But if you have a problem, I'm just going to say this to the people out there. Mm-hmm. If anybody's feeling like they're struggling with anything, whether or not it's drugs, alcohol, whatever it may be, just reach out, talk to somebody.
Well, let me ask you this though: you're drinking a THC drink,
correct?
So there's still something in that can mess you up.
Yeah.
But you brought two over and said you'll only drink one because you're driving.
Yeah,
you couldn't do that with alcohol. Is it
was
different or
it was a different? The buzz, obviously, as we for anybody.
Yep.
Vastly different. Part of it's growing up and part of it's coming from an alcoholic background.
Sure.
Knowing that, pump the brakes, just go out and be social. Like, I don't need to, I always thought I was being social. That was part of it too, because that was part of that culture in that industry. If I'm at home, maybe I'll have a few, because I'm at home. I'm not going anywhere.
Yep.
And, yes, it is still another mind-altering substance, just like caffeine, just like nicotine. I'm not here to preach, like I said, and that sobriety is only part of my whole story. Why I'm, we're talking about me as a bartender or whatever.
Right.
This doesn't screw with my life.
Sure.
Well, and that's a lot like Patrick's
That's what I was
journey.
wondering. Yeah.
because Patrick had to stop for like 7-8 years. But once he figured out what the triggers were for his, drinking, and, he figured it out. It's like now he's got responsibilities. He's got kids that are more important. All these things became more important, and he'll have.
I've switched to water, boys. I'm drinking water right now.
Yeah, so I know some people.
It's like I can have a couple drinks while we're doing this first hour and a half or whatever, but now I'm like, you know what? I'm going to hydrate because I don't.
Right. And I know a lot of
right.
I know
so,
a lot of
and
people,
that's a big thing. Patrick, conquered something that most people in his position will never be able to do. You've conquered something that most people will never be able to do. But you guys look at it almost in the same context where I'm a different person now. I realize where I come from.
Yeah.
This doesn't affect me like this.
Right. I don't have a stop button.
I was addicted to partying. Like I was addicted to getting drunk, finding a girl, finding a bag, staying out 2 days on the weekend, and and it got to the point where I couldn't have a beer because a beer would turn to 2, then it would turn to 4, then it would turn to a shot,
packy,
and then it would turn into I'm calling a drug dealer. And that was every time I went out for a beer. And one day I woke up and said, I can't do this any fucking more. And it clicked with me, kind of like you. Like 3 days later, I was like, cravings were gone. I did the AA thing. I started doing things differently. I lost weight. I started working out. I just changed everything.
Right.
And then through, I started drinking again in 2016. But now that I'm older and like what Brett said is I got responsibilities. Like I'll still go out on a bender, but it's going to be like, I'm going to be playing video games and I'm going to stay up till 2 a.m. playing Call of Duty, getting hammered. And then I'll feel like shit on Sunday. And I know that. And I do that, but I don't do it around my kids. I don't drive drunk. A lot of maturity comes with it. And, I went to some therapy and I got some medications and I've dealt with some of the things I used to drink if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
Right. Cause I remember hanging out with you at the bar. I got to go home. And I'd go home, I'd sleep, and I'd get up at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'd throw SOCOM 2 on, and Patrick's still up playing SOCOM 2 with, remember that kid called St. Cloud? Oh, my God. The kid was like 6. I'm not kidding. You hear this. I'm sorry, guys, but I got to go. My mom says I have to go to school now. And I'm going to Patrick. What the fuck is that? And Patrick's like, don't worry about it. He's like a prodigy.
This is legal.
Like, oh, my God. I was just MFing this kid, calling him a cocksucker and all sorts of bad things. And he's 6. I'm like going, oh my God.
Online gaming, yeah.
But
that's so fun.
But that's like the difference. Like now, like you were saying, getting older. And I remember, I would put down, as a bartender, put down 5 drinks and not a problem a day.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
If I put down 5 drinks in one sitting now, you'd have to call me an ambulance. Yeah. Literally.
Yeah.
So
our tomorrows are a whole lot
too.
different.
I've told you guys I officiate hockey, and I've got hockey tomorrow on Sunday. So, when you're an official, you skate for the entire fucking hour, right? You don't. It's not like playing a shift. You're not going out for 3 minutes and then sitting down for 5. Playing for 3 minutes, sitting down for 5. You're skating. So tomorrow night I will skate for 3 hours. So tonight I'm gonna get a buzz. And I'm going to shut her down and drink a bunch of water because I know tomorrow, but I have the choice to do that now. And I don't know if it's because of the therapy and the drugs or just because I know I'm older and I will feel like shit tomorrow. But I know I can be like, okay, I've had a few, I'm good. But I didn't have that choice before. And I applaud you because and so when I went to AA and why I quit AA is because of exactly kind of like what you're saying. Like I would just party and get out of hand. I never woke up shaking. I never went to the liquor store at 8 a.m. for vodka. Those are the people in the rooms that I just stopped identifying with and said, maybe I'm not an alcoholic, but now there's this new term, abuse, substance abuse, or just it's some generic term. It's not alcoholic, but it's
alcoholic light.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Coors Light.
1.0.
Right.
So now you've got it.
It's substance abuse disorder. That's what they call it. So I abuse substances. Okay, so that doesn't mean every day. It means I abuse them, but
right.
Well, ours is usually predicated on what we need to do tomorrow. You know, it's like because now it's like 2 days. If I get drunk, it's a 2-day ordeal.
Yeah, so I get a hangover
tomorrow,
after
way,
3 drinks. I'll have these 2 and go.
Yeah, but Stacy, you have something to do tomorrow.
What do I got to do?
You said you started something new and you do it on Sundays.
Oh, not until
you got to sing. You got to sing with Lance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not until next week.
Oh,
so,
DJ and karaoke.
Doing karaoke.
By the way,
now
people watch the previous episodes with Lance King. Stacy is now taking vocal lessons, and he's in turn training him how to whoop ass with the.
Well, he already knew that, and he's going to start teaching at the Collie Group.
Awesome.
Thai boxing, yep.
Yeah, because I mean, and like I said, I've been in martial arts for
30
years. Subak Do in the Munaquan, and some other martial arts that aren't even really
Irish yoga.
Well, that's drinking, but it's Stacy is kind of the man, especially with a weapon. And I've always told people, if I had to come up against a Stacy like guy, there is no way I'd let him get within 3 feet of me. That my foot might get knifed up quite a bit, but it's gonna be sidekick central. You are not getting close to
Lance and I are doing a lot of knife work.
So that's awesome. I was going to ask you, after your journey in becoming sober and how hard it was for you relapsing and finally get to it, how did that change relationships or the new relationships? I shouldn't say new, the relationship that you have now with your significant other. How did that?
Well, I think you're doing all right, man. I think you kicked your coverage there.
Oh yeah, I'm well aware of that. No, she.
That's how I got.
She's wonderful. She. What was it? Yesterday. Yesterday was her 27-month sober anniversary.
Okay,
good for her.
Nice.
Just, kind of in the same boat. Industry.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, just hanging out with your coworkers. Same slippery slope for her.
Yep.
The sobriety's been great, health-wise, mentally, family and, friends. And you kind of, when you run that hard, drinking and stuff, and you're just, you think all these people that you're hanging out with are your friends, but, a lot of them,
they're just
and some are friends. But I found out that a lot of them were just as miserable as I was, and they just wanted to be around, that whole old adage, misery loves company.
Yeah.
You find out who your true friends are, your family. I've been very, very, very fortunate to have, especially my mom and dad, my sister and brother. Not a very big family. We don't have a huge extended family, but like my nephews and my niece too. But parents especially, very supportive over all the years. Just, they're like, you're not a bad person. You're just kind of, you got some shit that ain't right.
Right. And stuff you got to fix.
But right. Yeah. And no, it works for me.
Mm-hmm.
And again, people should do whatever they feel comfortable with. But if you feel like you want to talk to somebody, this is for all the people out there. Again, if you feel like you might have a problem, just talk to somebody. It doesn't mean you have a problem, whether or not you want to call it alcoholism or drug addiction or substance abuse disorder or just heavily binge drinking too much. If you feel, just run it by somebody.
Right.
It doesn't make you a bad person and especially if probably deep down you might have a problem.
I think if you look at it deep down too, and going to that psychological level, because you have to go deep into your mind and going, okay, let me ask myself, why am I drinking so much? What is the purpose? What am I trying to hide? Am I trying to hide something in my mind? Am I trying to escape something? Is there a reason, or is it just to be social or whatever? Right. But let me ask you this. When you quit drinking, let's talk about how your body felt and how your mind felt. How fast was that? I mean, did it take a month to go, it's like, God, I feel
physically
completely different.
Physically, I started to feel better, I'd say after, for me, probably a week or two.
Okay.
But like a real first noticeable type difference. Because you don't sleep well. At least I didn't right away. Because you're so used to different
your body
sleep
gets
patterns.
Used to drunk sleep.
Right. And you're not sleeping
for
well.
It to pivot without that, it takes a minute. And that's like,
physically like walking around, but mentally the fog was there for, and I still think some days I'm like, did a little bit more fog just lift off? And I'm going on 5 years, which is huge, but it's still a short time. I just tell everybody, at least for me, another day sober and a lifetime to go. Like, I know I can't drink again. I know people, I have friends like Patrick, and I have other friends that, have abstained or, gotten sober and then, go back to drinking a little bit. But they also understand.
Well, and that's like Greg Moog. I mean, Greg, his big addiction was crystal meth. Right. Alcohol was a part of it. But now he's like, I can have a couple of drinks and it doesn't push me this way because I have that understanding of myself and why I need not to go to that other side.
Right.
And it's kind of like what you're saying. It's like, you don't just have a drink. You don't stop at one. You stop at some people stop when you pass out.
Yeah, some people are like that.
But then there's some people that'll drink a lot, and then they will stop, and then next day they keep doing it. And I lost a good friend of mine from doing that, Ash Cowley. If you remember Ash from from O'Donovan's Irish Pub, he was a bartender there for a while.
Yeah, vaguely.
The owner's younger brother, but that's what he would do. He would drink a lot and stop, drink a lot the next day, and then he would take a break for 3 days. And when this happened, then he would go back to it. But it killed his liver. He got hepatitis of the liver, and he passed away. And it's, it was awful because he was a good friend. He was a good friend to Gene. And it was a tough one because when you looked at it, we didn't know. All of a sudden, I hear he had died, and I'm like, what the hell? Well, he's at the family's house, and nobody told me. And I was a friend of his, and that was hurtful to me because I never knew. I would have went there. I would have seen him. I would have,
and a lot of times, people, especially in our industry, health insurance was few and far between.
Oh God, yeah.
And, you don't go get your checkups for your liver and stuff like that. And, it affects everybody's body very differently. Like, I'm very fortunate that my liver, the last time I talked to my doctor, is back to 100%.
Well, and that's the one thing.
Because I didn't get to the cirrhosis point.
Yeah.
I didn't get into the scarring. I had fatty liver.
But that's...
Like, you're right. You, like, for how much you drank and for how long I drank, my doctor was very surprised at how decent of health I was actually in.
Right.
And now they're like, you're pretty much like...
And that's the one thing that a lot of people don't understand is one of the only organs in your body that can regenerate itself.
Yep. Yeah.
As long as you don't go too far.
Yep.
They
won't
happen.
give a new liver to an alcoholic, though.
No.
So
they
that's
will
not a
not.
fucking excuse.
No. In fact, they frown on that.
Yeah, they do. They definitely frown on that. Did you do the steps at all? And
I was
did you
not
have that experience.
I was not a big AA person.
Yeah, me either.
I
was, but
I went
after the fact. I look back and go, "What the fuck?"
That's a big religious component, though, isn't it? Because a lot of them talked about.
When I look back on it,
you have to really have an epiphany, a religious epiphany to.
So what AA says is you have a disease, and the cure is your problem is your lack of connection with a God or a higher power. That's what they think the root of your problem is. And so I don't agree with that. The root of my problem was PTSD from childhood, abandonment. So that once I figured that out with my therapist, that's why I was getting drunk all the time, because I had abandonment issues and I couldn't have connections with people.
Right.
Duh. So that's why I drank all the time. That helped me have connections with people, which at the end of the day are not real connections. You're just drunk and you're being not a genuine human, right?
Right.
So
you're getting yourself into all sorts of other trouble.
all this, yeah. So, but AA is all just you have to do this and you have to do that, and like what Juhl said earlier is like, oh, how dare you take THC? You're not sober. Like, go fuck yourself. So anyway,
AA was not for me.
After I left AA, I was like, I've been really cynical about it. And if you need AA, go to AA. I'm gonna, just
AA does a lot of great
what
things
Juhl says
for a lot of people. It's not for me necessarily,
it's
but
not for me either.
I did enjoy going when my work schedule allowed. I would go on Saturdays to a speaker meeting. So it wasn't reading out of the big book and shit. It was somebody who was there, and for whatever reason, if they were into the AA, but they were there for that camaraderie and that fellowship and for that story time. Because I connected with other people telling their stories because everyone's is so different, but yet so similar at the same time. And, just kind of listening and going, and especially early on, because I remember I spoke at one of those speaker meetings, and I think it was on like my 81st day of sobriety, and I'm like, I'm not even at 90 days yet, guys. Like, should I be speaking here? Like, normally you can't get me to shut up, but I don't think I want to speak right now. They're like, no, this is a great time. So I went up and I kind of told part of the story. And, that part I found very soothing and calming, I guess. Just the telling of the story. I tried a couple of the big book, where they go through each step at the meeting.
Yeah.
And they pass around their wicker basket because it's kind of like a church and they want your money. But anyway, that's a different story. It just wasn't for me, but I know it does help millions of people, and it has. So
100%.
Whatever, and I'm not saying you're talking bad against it at all. My whole thing is do what's right for you at the end of the day.
There's a lot of different ways that you can quit.
Right. And just don't be a dick to people. That's really the
and
end all be all rule. Just don't be a dick.
Yeah.
I got really into AA and I get into a real serious group. And if you only went to speaker meetings, they would call you like, you're not trying to get sober. You need to work the steps. Like you're just being a pussy and going. And I'm like, hey, I just don't want to go to a bar right now. So I'm going to go here and just listen to somebody. That's something.
Well, and I will say,
and so there's this little bit of a echelon
some of those
hierarchy
AA
bullshit
fanatics,
AA groups and stuff like that. I just didn't get it.
It's just another addiction for them.
Right.
Like I go to 12 meetings a week. Well, that's just fucking unnecessary in my opinion.
You're addicted to AA meetings.
Right. That's what it was.
They were telling me to skip holidays and shit with my kids to go to a fucking meeting or help someone move. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
No, I don't even want to help people move at work and get my free slice of pizza. Like,
I just want to say, like, yeah, AA is good for most. It was good for me for a while, and then I just had a different opinion, and it didn't work for me anymore.
Find your own journey.
Alcohol didn't work. Alcohol didn't work for me, and then AA didn't work for me for a while. So,
well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, it looks like your journey went in the correct direction. I mean,
if I wouldn't have gotten sober, I was one of those drinkers who was either going to die from drinking or something stupid.
Yeah.
Or I was going to end up in jail.
Or dead.
Or dead. I mean, there was really only, and I got close to dead a few times, and, the bike accident and just my overall health, I was having bad seizures, and TBIs from falling over and smacking my head on the ground.
Well,
I'm glad you went to AA. Jesus Christ.
Right. No, I was a full on. I didn't just drink too much. I was full on.
You're hurting yourself.
Dependent
Yeah,
on
you're hurting
alcohol.
yourself.
But you're one of the few that was smart enough to see the writing on the wall, and go through a process that was meaningful to you, to get you going in the right direction. And at the end of the day, that's what matters most.
Yeah.
Recognizing that you have a problem and just trying to do whatever you can to fix it. And
now you're sitting here at the bar, not drinking.
And good for you.
And when I go out, just like with my girlfriend, when we go out, even before we're together, whatever, I sit at the bar every time. I still like a bar service. I get better service at the bar. I enjoy chatting with the bartender. That's why I think part of me is pissed off at some of this new generation of bartenders. Sure. I'm like, listen here, you little fucker. You're going to get over here and you're going to talk to us. You're going to
hear my problems.
You are going to be entertaining. And I'm not even going to.
You going to the show tonight?
I'm not even going to throw down problems on you. Well, and like my girlfriend, she's such a sweetheart. Like anybody we go or anywhere we go to anybody we're talking to, like she's like, no, it's fine. But how's your day going? Like, what are you?
Yeah.
How is your day? Like, how's life treating you? Like, she genuinely cares about what's going on with them. It's like, no, we're not even going to tell you that it's not going to be an old school country song where, the dog ran away with my ex-wife,
right.
stole my truck.
You put it on, you go backwards and you get your dog back.
Yeah.
You quit drinking, your house is back. You got the
and again, just sit at the bars. I don't know. I'm still at home at a bar. You can still, I don't know.
Now you're doing podcasts at the bar,
right? Well, and that's I'm the same way. I feel
the bar will always
the
still
bar.
be
it's
a place in my heart.
Right.
It's a conversation piece.
Right. It's a focal point.
I spend a lot of time
I do think
back
it's a guy
there.
thing.
A lot of
guy
time
thing
back here.
Well, it's a girl thing too. I mean,
This is a sausage fest for me.
No, it's a
well,
it's a guy
that's
thing.
why
Guys don't like
on.
to talk to other guys. Their friends. They don't like to talk to their friends about their problems. right? And that's why you go to a bar, is you can talk to somebody that's a stranger about your problems.
Yeah,
They'll listen.
Stacy, I'm glad you said that because I'm an introvert. I don't talk to many people. I've got a 1-bedroom apartment. I have my kids 3 days a week. But outside of that, I don't have a whole ton of friends here. But I'll go to a bar just to sit and just kind of hang out and observe. And if I bump into a dude, we talk about sports, what's on the screen.
Yep.
I love that. I fucking love it.
Yep.
It is my one social thing that I get to do that I absolutely love.
And guys
so that's
do that.
Kind of like,
but that's what we all have in common. Gene, what do we do when we go to a different town, like in Alaska? Where did we go?
The bar.
a charming
The
town.
bar. But why?
To talk to the locals.
To talk to the locals.
Yep.
We weren't there to go getting shit-faced or drinking. We just wanted to talk to the people that are there and, and kind of
schmooze a little bit
and get to know them and have a great conversation.
But the sights and the sounds and the smells and all of the things.
Well,
like
you find out where to eat and where not
exactly.
to eat.
I mean, we had such a great time meeting a bunch of people that were great, and they sat down and there was like family. I mean, almost immediately because the connection that was there.
Well, the bartender can, find you anything from caviar to cocaine.
Yep.
That's why I went to the urban wildlife.
Yeah.
Thanks, Juhl. No, I'm just kidding.
Chips, dips, chains, and whips.
That's right.
I'm just kidding. No.
Just a regular teenage soiree. So what?
Did you, hey,
yeah,
Brett.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm going to derail this fucker right now.
Yeah.
Did you see a whale?
No.
We did not see a whale.
I saw a glacier fall.
But when
whales
I
in
saw-
Glacier Bay National
but
Park.
but when we were coming into Glacier Bay in that area that you said we would see whales, it was dark.
Yes.
So there was no seeing whales.
We saw a big,
Damn it.
giant chunk
Just
of
went out shining whales.
Oh, we
So,
didn't shine
That's
anyway.
deer. You
Can I
went out-
talk? We saw a
Throwing M80 in the
ginormous
water.
glacier fall, which is kind of
chunk
rare.
glacier come down. They call it white.
It's called calving, by
they
the way.
they
It's
said
called
they
cal-
called
White
it
thunder. It's called white
because
thunder.
it would fall in and sound like thunder, and it did. So it was impressive.
Eagles,
did.
Yeah.
goats on the
I
mountain.
saw a lot of good, big restaurant tabs.
Yeah, there were some. We in Juneau, we went to Tracy's Crab Shack where we got crabs.
Tracy
You
gave
should've
me
got
crabs.
Dungeness. I don't know why you got king crab. You should have got Dungeness there.
Oh,
No.
we like
No.
Fucking good.
I like the big giant ones that look like,
Hey. This is a family podcast.
All right.
Yeah.
So Juhl, you're still working on 3 days a week? Was that or 3 days a month?
I work Sunday days.
Sunday days.
Yeah.
And that's where again?
Max Industrial.
And where's that
Northeast
located?
Minneapolis.
Max Industrial.
Where's that located?
That would be at 310 East Hennepin.
So for anybody
Across the street from Surdyk's Liquor Store.
okay.
Oh,
So-
okay.
So
One last little plug, too. Full menu till 2 a.m. every day.
nice.
so
Holy
people
shit.
I
people
love
watching
that.
this
Love that.
podcast,
159 and order food.
it's
See how that goes.
we're getting the bartender name back out there. Go see Juhl on Sundays at Max Industrial. Be there and do it.
Yep.
It's great having you on the show.
Thank you
thank
for
you
coming
for
in.
having
Yeah,
me.
thank you.
It's been fantastic, reminiscing about the old days and talking about
Yeah.
where the bar industry is now. So for the people out there are still some good spots where you get to feel that kind of energy in the people around. Don't miss out on those.
Come
Max
Northeast
Industrial
Minneapolis, yep.
on Sundays with Juhl is one of them. Hit those local bars in Northeast Minneapolis because it's very neighborhood-like and it's awesome.
Are you going to give information at the end?
Yes. Well, we can. Juhl's there every Sunday from what time to what time?
11 to 6.
So 11 to 6.
Yes.
11 to 6.
And
Max.
the ad
Full
just
menu
again?
until 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Until 2 a.m.
310 East Hennepin, Max,
from
MAC,
sure.
apostrophe S, Industrial Sports Bar. You can. We have brunch on Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3. It's
Ooh,
a
I'm
menu
doing
brunch. There's a
that.
new menu coming out. I haven't seen it yet, but there is a new menu coming. Looks to be amazing, though, from what I've heard.
Oh, I'm
A couple
doing the
pictures.
brunch.
Yeah. So
Brett, we're doing the brunch.
We're definitely doing the brunch.
And then, the full regular menu you can get all day from open until 2 a.m.
We might
I'm
actually
gonna fly in to do the fucking
we-
brunch. I'm
we-
Me
flying
too.
in.
I
we
know,
might
right?
actually
Let's go.
see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Maybe brunch
So-
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Come on.
Lucky.
I will be there
Hey,
tomorrow.
should we go?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do brunch
So
tomorrow.
we are doing brunch tomorrow to see Juhl
Okay.
from 11 to
FaceTime me or
6. So
something.
absolutely.
we will.
So
For sure.
folks, you know, it's like industries, bartending, getting that neighborhood feel.
Yeah.
That stuff does die if you don't keep
don't,
at it and be a
yeah.
part of it.
Yeah.
So please do represent, go
Your
to your
local-
neighborhood, local places that you
And
love.
tip very well.
Tip well and
Yep.
get to know these people because they become part of your family.
Yep.
Good point.
They do. So next week we have Jennifer, your friend.
Yep.
She's an actress.
Actress.
So we're going to have her
Nice.
next week. And as always, peace, love, and happiness, folks. We'll see you next time. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mike.
Otherwise known as Juhl, for gracing our little
Yep.
bar here. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Patrick.
Take care, folks.
Nice
Take
seeing
care
you,
of your
Patrick.
staff and go see local music too.
Peace out. That was cool.